Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
I guess I'm getting canceled.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox, G. Bush. I'm Adam the Bull. We've got Mike, Steve, Earl, Anthony, all on the other side of the glass. And plenty to get into today as the Browns begin their search for a replacement for Kevin Stefanski, who somehow became the top candidate until Harbaugh got fired. Now he's not the top candidate anymore. Who determines who the top candidate? I love when people say he's the top candidate.
Yeah.
How do we determine who's the top candidate?
I said that yesterday on the podcast. You tried to check me on it.
On Harbaugh, on Stefanski.
I think it's
because who decides who's the top
who gets
candidate?
the most interviews?
Who the syndicate?
Why does that make you the top candidate? Just because you get the most interviews, what if you don't get a job?
It's the most popular guy people are talking about.
Who? Media members. The teams
Right.
aren't saying anything.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
If teams are interviewing you, they're clearly talking
We make
about
way
you.
too many judgments based on media. We make judgments on the draft based on mock drafts.
Yeah, we do.
We make judgments on coaches. We're all talking out our ass when it comes to coaches.
how else would we make these?
I don't know.
These decisions or have these thoughts.
Also, real quick, I'm
No one thinks of
offended by-
themselves anymore.
Like
Wait, what's that?
Go ahead.
Dustin literally played for Harbaugh, who we'll talk about in a second. We'll show the picture in a sec. So, like, when he's
Obviously, he's the top
he knows
choice.
Harbaugh.
Yeah, fine.
So stop saying he's
That's
talking
one
out his ass
example.
now. Dustin
That-
knows exactly what he's talking about.
That's one example, and it's a rare example. Most people are talking out their ass. They don't know anything about these coaches. I said, I'll just rip myself. I said yesterday, I don't want Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know if
You
he's
don't
a
want
good
him
coach
because
or
you
not.
think he's too good looking.
That's part of it.
Yes.
And, I feel like he's gotten more than he's deserved. But I don't know. I don't know what he's like behind the scenes.
When we get to it, I'm going to kind of co-sign that what Bull said. I really will, because I was just thinking about it on the way in, Bull. I said, I got a really cool analogy for it, but I'll save it when we get to the coaches.
All right. So, anything else going on that we want to get off our chest early?
It's a get off your chest day.
I mean, if
Man,
you got it, you got something. You got into a Adam the Bull level fight at the store.
Night.
You want to tell us what happened?
I won't say the store name or
Okay.
anything. It's fine, not a big deal. But anyway, we bought this like Ohio State blow up for like out in the front yard.
Yeah.
You know, like one of those like 12
Yeah,
feet tall
sure.
things. And it was like I got it right before the New Year's Eve for the college football playoffs, and it was raining or something. The weather was bad. I never put it up,
Yeah.
and then they lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to put it up until next year.
Yeah, right,
So I was going to return it. It's like $130. And this place where we bought it, they always ask to do the receipt, like the digital receipt. So they want your email.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, whatever. This is like back on the 27th or 28th when I bought this thing. And I went to take it back last night. I dropped my wife out front, and I waited in the car, and she went in. She comes back, and she said, they're not taking it back. I'm like, what are you talking about? Did you tell them my email and stuff? And she's like,
Do they have a clear policy where you can return within 30 days or whatever?
Well, yeah, of course.
Not every place does that, I guess.
This place is a
reputable.
Is a chain.
Okay, so then they probably do at least 30 days.
Yeah.
And it's not been 30
That wasn't the problem. The
Yeah.
problem was the woman acted like she couldn't find it. She thought we were like trying to scam them or something.
Oh, okay.
And so I sat there in the parking lot for like 10 minutes, stewing,
Yeah.
getting upset, and thinking about this is. I was just gonna be like, whatever, we'll just keep it. And
Right.
I'm like, honey, we've got two options here.
Yeah.
I could just turn the car around and we go home, and I let it go.
No, you shouldn't have done that. I'm glad you didn't.
And I didn't do that.
Good.
I said, or I could go in there right now and figure out this thing.
Yeah.
And so I went in there and I put it down like, you're taking this back. That's what I said.
Did they find your account or no?
Well, no, she couldn't find it. And I said, well, every time I come in here, you don't print receipts for me.
Yeah.
And you make me give you the email.
Right.
I never got the email receipt.
Yeah.
So there's whatever.
Who's wandering around trying to return something like that?
It's unbelievable. And she acted like it was, she's like, well, it's expensive. I'm like, ma'am, everything in this store is $100.
Yeah, right.
You can't get a sweatshirt for less than $100.
Yeah.
And
What is your, so generally speaking, when it comes to conflict, what is your wife's communication style?
No conflict.
She just
Zero conflict. She wants nothing to do with it.
Let it go.
She would rather have just we ate that and
just
never used it.
Yeah.
She'd have rather thrown it in the garbage probably than had a conflict.
When you said you was turning the car around, because you don't spaz out often.
No.
But was she kind of like, no, please don't do it, or she was like, you know what, go ahead.
I don't lose my cool. Now, I wasn't drinking anymore. I'm drinking anymore, so that I'm calmer.
Yeah.
So that's good. But I think she was actually happy, and it was a good moment for me to kind of be the man.
Yeah, she was like, look at my dude.
Yeah, right. Because I'm not manly about I can't even change a light bulb.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm good at talking and dealing with situations like this, so it worked out. And what I told her, I'm like, Miss, it's on our credit card bill.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm like, why can't you go through the day we came in and look for the purchase? It was like $403.15.
Yeah. And it wasn't like you were returning everything, just that one thing.
No, of course she found it.
She found it that way.
Yeah. And easily put it back on her credit card. I'm
Look at that.
I'm like, honey.
Did she
I didn't say
apologize for
honey,
the
but I was like,
inconvenience?
no, she was a total B. She was a total B.
If you want to see people get mad, if anybody, I'm just throw this out there. If you want to see people spaz out, is if you want to come at somebody and act like whatever you got was so much of a huge amount of money that you have to scam somebody to, like, because it puts you in a situation like, hold on, listen, I'm not going to put my bank account up or nothing, but this ain't that crazy. This is light bars right here. This is like, you know what I'm saying?
I said to the lady, I'm like, do you like, I'm like, Miss, we have spent in the last 12 months like $3,000 in the store.
Yeah.
I said, I'm just returning this thing. I said, give a store credit. I said, I'm going to give it right back to you.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, you think, like, especially stores that you spend a lot of money at.
I'm here all the time, bro.
All the time.
You see my face,
By
bro.
the way, I'm glad, before we move on, I'm glad you told the story, because that reminds me that the movie theater at Crocker Park owes me like $15, and that's not enough money that I'm making a big deal about it. But next time I go in there, I got to remember that, because we had paid. I was taking Aaron and a friend of his. The three of us were going to see, I don't remember the movie, but we were going to see it in IMAX. And whatever, the IMAX wasn't working, so we ended up seeing it in the regular theater. They're like, oh, we'll give you, the difference in the price. Which, all right, fine, but I never got that refund.
Never got it on that account?
Don't wait too long, though.
No,
Yeah,
don't
that's
wait
true.
too long. All right, guys, busy show. Let's dive right into things. It's brought to us, our first topic,
Mike was
as always.
panicking that we were talking
I
too
know.
long about
He's
Randy
freaking out.
stuff.
I'm
Andy
not
Roth
panicking.
over here.
He was losing his mind.
I just know we got a couple things we got to get to. I'm excited to hear you
Yeah, we're
guys'
breaking
takes
down
on some
a
of
coach
these
nobody ever heard of.
super hot coaching
Yeah.
candidates that I can't wait for hear Bull's
saw that.
opinion on. But guys, FanDuel and
need the
Fridays,
commentary?
they go together like peanut butter and jelly. And right now, FanDuel's giving new fans a way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. So before tip-off, make sure you're checking the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during the NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Kevin Stefanski's out. The Browns have lined up head coaching interviews. And before we talk about the two candidates who are officially coming to Berea to interview for the job, let's talk about both the hottest candidate on the market. That is John Harbaugh, who parted ways with the Ravens. He was fired. He parted ways. It was mutual. It was not. Who knows the exact reasoning? But he is out in Baltimore after 18 seasons. In those 18 seasons, he made the playoffs 12 times. He has a 180 and 113 career record in the regular season. It's 193 and 124 if you include his playoffs. He won a Super Bowl. He has 8 road playoff wins. That is the most road playoff wins in the history of the NFL. He also has family ties to Cleveland. So, Bull,
Yeah.
is there any realistic shot that John Harbaugh, who is no longer the Baltimore Ravens head coach, could end up as the Cleveland Browns next head coach?
I would have said 100% no. I had Zach on my podcast this morning, and I said, would Harbaugh even take a call from Jimmy Haslam? And Zach said, yeah, he would, probably. He would take a call. I mean, maybe Jimmy offers him so much money that he can't refuse it. But I think in the end, I'd be beyond stunned if Harbaugh took a job, if John Harbaugh took a job with the Browns. Obviously, there's better options, there's better owners, there's better
quarterbacks.
You would think the other one of their 6 teams that have openings, you would think all 6 he would be their top choice.
7, including the Ravens now.
Right, but besides the Ravens, that he would have. You would think all 6 of those teams would want Harbaugh to be their coach.
And a real quick, Bull,
what's
it's
that?
worth mentioning that Schefter has tweeted out and reported that 9 teams have reached out to John Harbaugh.
9 teams?
9.
Some
6.
teams with coaches still.
And Miami has now been confirmed as a team that, despite
I
having
hope
Mike
the Bengals
McDaniel
are
still
one of
as
them.
head coach,
Right,
has reached out. So the Dolphins are one of the 3 teams that we know have also reached out.
Right.
There apparently are 2 other, if you want to believe the reports from
Wow,
Schefter.
those teams are
2
so
other
dumb.
teams.
I get it. Well, they're not dumb, actually, because it goes with my theory, as always, that most coaches are just fine. And unless you can get a special coach, it's not always necessary to move off the coach you have. But I don't know. I'd be stunned if he ends up with the Browns. But certainly, this is a time, I rip Jimmy all the time, but this is a time where he needs to take advantage of the only thing he does right, which is spend money
and open the
and
checkbook.
say, whatever it takes,
Blank
whatever
check.
you want. You want me to fire Andrew Berry? Gone. You want me to whatever. That's what he should do.
Well, who was it last night that said, I think it was Steve Weish of NFL Network said that, this is the one coach that a team would basically fire their GM for this guy, and he could bring in whoever he wants or just do it all himself. And when I saw that, I thought that, okay, well, he's clearly talking about the Browns.
Yeah.
Because the Browns are keeping their GM. They fired their coach. And I don't know, man. It's
Bring Ozzie out of retirement to be the GM.
I would offer
Ozzie
anything for Harbaugh.
Anything.
Whatever
he wanted. And I thought it was time for him to go from Baltimore, but he's still a great coach.
18 years is a long time to be anywhere.
It was time to move on, but he's one of the 5 or 6 best coaches in the league. So whatever it takes.
And Dustin, you played for him for a little bit?
Yeah, he was. So when I was in Philadelphia, he was my special teams coach, and then became
look at that.
our secondary coach. So yeah, I was with him every day.
He looks really young. You probably look like a baby under that
That was
helmet.
20 years ago.
Yeah. 20 years ago.
2006.
Hard to believe, huh?
Man. And that's a good HD camera, too.
Yeah.
For 20 years ago. That's in high definition, 1080p.
What was he saying to you? Do you remember that moment?
No.
I can't cuss on the show anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was cussing at you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's good. You kind of
Yeah,
like
it was after I just missed the tackle on Charles
Yeah.
Woodson as a gunner.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, he was a great coach. He really demands a lot out of his players, but he's like a fun guy to play for. He always had energy, like the most energy of any coach I think I've ever been around. And if you're a special teams coach, you have to bring that juice every day.
Right, yeah.
And do you think about this? He went from essentially being his whole career as a special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
He was a position coach for like a season.
Yeah.
I think it was 2007, and then he took that job.
Yeah.
The next year.
And he was the second longest tenured coach.
Yeah, because he was there. Was he there 2008 or 2007?
His first year in Baltimore was 2008.
So 2008, yeah. So 2007, I was in camp with him in Philadelphia. 2006 season, we were together in Philadelphia, and then he was a position coach, and then because of his time as a coordinator, as a special teams coach, he got the gig. He interviewed really well, and man, he's just such a good. I loved him.
Yeah.
I love being around him. I remember one day in practice when we were doing a special teams drill, and he said to me, he said, why'd you get cut? He's like, you're a 3rd round pick. He's like, you went to Ohio State. You're a great athlete.
Yeah.
He's like, what's missing? What am I missing? He said to me. He was like, call me in practice. I remember the conversation like it was yesterday because I'd never been called out like that.
Right.
And it really lit a fire under my ass.
Really?
Yeah.
Great coaches know how to push the right buttons with the right people.
The right buttons, man.
So, I take it, and I'll ask you this question. Is it, as a special teams coach, because you're dealing with so many different people and you don't really have a specific position that you're coaching every single day, do you think that enhances his communication skills, and is that like one of his strong suits of how he's able to get what he needs?
You also think about when you're a special teams coordinator, you're essentially kind of like a head coach in some ways because you're dealing with so many players from the roster, offensive players, defensive players, the kickers, the punters. I mean, you're like a strength coach in college. You essentially have the heartbeat of the team. You know what's going on, the pulse of the team, if you will. And Harbaugh did that when he was a special teams coach, and so that's why I think he translated well to being a head coach because he already had the ability to communicate. I mean, his brother was a great coach, great player. His father was a coach. Like it's just, I don't know. It would make a lot of sense. He's got Ohio ties. I just think that what would be holding the Browns back is everything we talked about yesterday.
Yeah,
the dysfunction.
You know, if he let's assume all the other teams are interested, which I think is a pretty safe assumption. All the teams that are open. Like he can go to the Raiders and he gets to pick whatever quarterback he wants from this draft. He could go to the Giants and he's got Jackson Dart. Maybe he doesn't like Jackson Dart, but at least there's a guy who was a first-round pick that's there. In Atlanta, we'd have a good owner. That guy's one of the best owners in the league. And I don't know what he feels about Michael Penix, but he was a first-round pick in the draft. Same thing with Cam Ward in Tennessee. Arizona is kind of more like the Browns situation. And who am I forgetting? The Giants. No, I said the Giants.
You said the Giants.
Who did I forget?
I mean, Miami, if you want to
Miami's
include
in the
them,
mix
because
now,
they
right?
called.
Well, but no, of the teams that have an opening. I feel like there's one team.
You say Vegas?
You said Vegas?
Yeah.
Or Cleveland. The Ravens. The
Arizona,
Cardinals,
Giants,
Titans, and Falcons. You hit them all.
Right, okay, I guess we did hit them all.
Gee, what do you think about Harbaugh? And would you move heaven and high waters to bring him to Cleveland?
So I was on the way in and I was thinking about the context of what's going on with these coaches. And, I thought to myself, man, this is a lot like speed dating. Like, this is a lot like online dating because, people used to always say, man, show me a supermodel and I'll show you somebody who's tired of her. I'll show you a dude that's fed up with her stuff.
Yeah.
And, you look at it, and I did a little bit a dive in about what Ravens fans think of Harbaugh, and it's funny. They have a little bit of the same stuff going on here. When you hear about Harbaugh, in the Lamar Jackson stuff, it's like those fans and a lot of people is like, oh, it was time. They got to go. There's a bunch of people, and I thought it was funny because every fan base has their own relationship. And one thing that popped up, what Bull said, and he says this a lot, you say, we're into our teams and we're hyper-focused on everything we do. We don't know. We're not watching the ins and outs of the Baltimore Ravens. It's 2 games. We just watching. We play them 2 games, and then we watch them in passing if it's a game on TV.
And the less often your team plays a team, the less you know.
The less you know.
I know more about the Ravens and Steelers than I do the Falcons.
Right.
And the Cardinals, but still.
Well, we don't know.
But not like the Browns.
We don't know the ins and outs of, I'm looking at it, they're like, oh, the reason they was let go is because he apparently wanted to keep Todd Monken, and people didn't like Todd Monken because he's abrasive with their personality. And then they talked about sometimes they didn't like the in-game situations, and then there's the conflict with the quarterback and some
Monken and Lamar supposedly had some friction.
Yeah, it has some friction. So it's weird because we got the same thing. There's people here that is split on Kevin Stefanski. Some people else is like, what the heck is Cleveland doing? Why would they get rid of Stefanski? He's the top guy on the list. Bring him over here. Mm-hmm. So now it's kind of the same thing with Harbaugh. Now look, his resume is impeccable. I think they would have 3 losing seasons. And out of those 3 losing seasons, Lamar Jackson was hurt for the majority of 2 of those seasons. If you want to talk about it, under him, Lamar Jackson won 2 MVPs. And he did it in a way where a lot of people, when Lamar Jackson came out of college, they didn't think he was going to be able to turn into a passer and continue to run and do some things like that.
Lamar for sure has developed under Harbaugh.
Definitely developed under him. So there's this thing where, okay, what have why did you get fired this year? And what are you going to do moving forward? And what are the pieces of parts that look like in Cleveland? For me, I just don't have, I'm going to let y'all know, I can't have strong feelings either way because I just don't know. It's too many question marks. Like, what does the owner think? What does GM think? What do they want? Like, what are they looking for somebody to come in and do with the quarterback?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at these names, and it's like speed dating. You just got to go on an interview and go on a date and see how it work out.
Harbaugh's got by far the best track record of any of these guys, but it's not a guarantee. We've seen a lot of veteran coaches be great and then go to another stop and stink. We saw Gruden with the Raiders. We've seen Pete Carroll. I know it's his 3rd stop. 1 year with the Raiders and he's out. We've seen who am I forgetting now? I was just going to say Joe Gibbs went back to Washington second time around.
I feel very confident in saying this. If John Harbaugh couldn't turn it around in Cleveland, nobody can.
I mean, he's still young enough too. as opposed to like a
so
Pete
I
Carroll.
just said the energy. The energy is off the charts, man. And by the way, I ran into Harbaugh on the sidelines like a few years ago. At a Browns game, and he remembered, like we talked, like we were in the locker room again. I mean, I haven't seen him in like 20 years.
That's very impressive.
That is cool.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Funny. I mean, this is before the game. I mean, he's on BS and on the sidelines.
Right.
He remembered the fact that one day in the off season, we were doing a drill, a DB drill, like not a practice, but just like working out together. And I accidentally kneed him in his thigh, and he got this bruise, this contusion, where he couldn't walk for like a week.
Oh,
and he never forgot it. It was, and he brought it up to me again.
Can we?
So funny.
This is a really good. It's a really good story, and it shows what I be talking about all the time. That right there is a unique characteristic of an awesome leader. Like when you go to these trainings and seminars and different things, they tell you how valuable it is to give somebody a firm handshake, remember their name, look them in the eye,
Remember a story,
and remember a story. Like that endears me. That endears people. Like Dustin, this is years ago, 20 years ago. He's sitting on a show talking about a potential candidate, and you see the way he's able to light up and say, "I know for a fact." Everybody that talks about him, and think about it, that's just one person. And that's for one person for 20 years. Yeah. Think about how many other people he's impacted. Yeah. And that type of energy.
Hundreds and hundreds of players.
That type of energy is special.
It's a great point. And great leaders, it's not about what you do. It's about how you make people feel.
Right.
And to be able to have that. And like when he did that little comment to me, it made me feel special. And so he does that with all his players.
I mean, finding that balance. We always talk about. I talk often about the balance between like analytics and heart, but there's also coaches have to find, especially nowadays, a balance between like hard ass and love to players to get the most out of them, and that's not easy to do. And to your point, G, about other people. I saw like one of the guys I used to work with in New York. He was like, if we don't get Harbaugh or Stefanski, we have failed this. I'm like, he's putting Stefanski with Harbaugh on the same class.
It's the same level.
Because people because all they see is the guy won two Coach of the Year awards.
And then they like, but look, and then they even look, he won the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Like look at
he won games with Cleveland.
Like people, so it's very difficult because we're not in the city. But if you go poll the audience, I want to. Here's what I love it. I love when I need to really feel how the way people feel. I don't go to Twitter. I go to Reddit. I get like I like the anonymous crazy comments that people like. I go on Reddit, so I'm looking on there and they're like, and it was mixed. A lot of people was like, yeah, Todd Monken's offense. It's ironic because Harbaugh wouldn't get rid of Todd Monken. Monken had a little bit of a issue with Lamar Jackson, but the passing game looked better. But some people say it's a mixed bag. Some of this game, they had Derrick Henry off the field. But it's funny because now Todd Monken is being mentioned, as we'll talk later in the show, about the first guy coming in for an interview, and he was here before.
Todd Monken, Zach Jackson called him a grumpier Kevin Stefanski. I don't know.
He's kind of surly. People in Georgia said the same thing.
By the way, if you're hiring Harbaugh, that's above Andrew Berry's pay grade. Because I gotta believe if there's any chance that Harbaugh would take this job, Berry would have to be gone. There's no way he's taking this job.
That's what I was going to ask. And G, I'm curious because I know you were adamant about keeping Berry. Me and Bull were fine with leaving. If Harbaugh said, "Yeah, I'll come, but I want full control over the roster. I want to be the GM and the head coach."
I wouldn't say
adamant. Take that?
Well,
I would say adamant. I would say I could see why they kept him. But here's the thing. If you talk about Harbaugh, right now, I look at it almost like a variable situation. So one of the reasons I think it's only maybe it's probably a 10% chance he shows up to this job is because he don't need a job right now. Like he don't 18 years. I got a Super Bowl. I got a track record. If he don't get the perfect opportunity. He not going. There's no reason to take it. It's like once you've been in the industry for so long, right? And you get to a point where you reach a certain level, you're not on the grind no more, and then you may move from other places, and you got maybe 10 years left, maybe 8. You're not gonna just be taking any willy-nilly job. You're gonna take it. He got to have the right infrastructure. He got to have the right sort of say so. And a dude like that, he's going to want a level of power where I'm only reporting to the owner. That's the only thing I'm moving
I would
with.
think more than wanting to be the GM also. I don't think he's going to want to.
No,
he's going to want to be he's going to want to kind of hire the GM.
Well, he's going to bring his guys in.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
He's gotta be
the guys that he spent time with.
I don't think he's looking to be the GM.
No.
But he's looking to have influence over who the GM is.
All the people that he spent time with in Philadelphia with Andy Reid,
Yeah.
and all the people he spent time with in Baltimore for the 18 years he was there. Like Andy Reid, when Andy Reid went to Kansas City, he brought almost all the Philly people with him.
Right,
Like
yeah.
his training staff and
Right.
his GM and his coordinators and this guy. I mean, that's what Harbaugh would do here.
Absolutely. So Harbaugh is in a position to demand whatever he wants.
Yes.
Now you don't have to give it to him,
And he don't
but
have
he,
to
he don't
take
have
the
to
job.
take.
Which is probably why he won't be in Cleveland, because this owner will not give him that power.
Right. He should.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course he should.
And you got to also think too, like a guy that's been that successful in the division is like, okay, listen, there's a level of expectations that come with it. Like, so here's the thing in Cleveland. We watch the Baltimore Ravens, who we forget are the former Cleveland Browns, win a championship in 4 years. There's this unrealistic expectation that if Harbaugh comes here, that, oh, we better be in the playoffs this year and next year, and we better be on the track record. Like, does he really want to come deal with like unfair expectations, and then on top of that, deal with a startup? Do you
I would. He's going to have high expectations wherever he goes.
Well, I mean.
He's 64. I don't think he's going to want to go.
Yeah, he's not looking for a long-term rebuild.
No, he's not looking at no
The
startup.
Browns are probably not the right fit for him, but
I
would do whatever it takes to hire him.
I would say, and plus a guy like him, I mean, I would say he's more of a guy that's at that age and level.
Okay, I'll just tell you something right now. His age may say 64, but he's not his body and his mind. He's not a day over 50.
Energetic.
Yeah.
Energetic. He got the energy level. I think New York would be a better look.
I know guys who were 50.
Yeah.
That
I can't
will
believe
act
he's
older than this
64.
guy.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
He looked like he run at 3 a.m.
If I'm him, I'm like,
you see him
okay.
squatting at 315?
Yeah, that was wild.
I'm like, who do I like more? Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, the quarterbacks in this draft, or Michael Penix? And whoever's number one on my list, that's the job I take if I'm him.
Now, here's what I would say. I wouldn't take, if I was him, I'm looking for specific cities. Like, I'm looking at quality of life. I'm looking at your roster. And I'm like, oh, I like Cam Ward. But
Well, we don't know what his priorities are. Like, quality of life is subjective. It depends on what you're looking for.
I would be like, you know what? Do I really want to be outside? Nah, I'm cool on in Cleveland. Do I really want to go Tennessee? I like Cam Ward, but I don't know what other stuff they got around him. They ain't got nothing. That's too much of a. I don't want to have a major build. I want to have a couple of things already in place.
Yeah.
And then if I feel I can take my staff with me and add to it, we could be a quicker little.
I know this is not such a bold thing, but I think Atlanta, the Giants, or the Raiders are probably the top three.
I would say that.
Right? Because
for him.
Atlanta's the best owner. If he cares about weather and stuff like that. Obviously, the New York market, that's very appealing to some people. A lot of people like Jackson Dart.
Harbaugh grew up a Browns fan.
He did.
Dad from about an hour and a half south. Mom from, I think his mom went to Shaw High School.
But will Jimmy do what it takes to get him? That's the question.
That's
going to include how stupid would he look? I say he'd look stupid if he fired Andrew Berry now, but if it was because of bringing in Harbaugh, I don't think anybody would complain about it.
Oh, and if you're Andrew Berry right now, you got to be shivering your boots.
Absolutely.
Thinking they bring this guy. Like,
I'm done. Yeah.
And he's got to know that Jimmy Haslam is very finicky and willy-nilly with his decisions.
Yeah, right.
I think if you looked at it, they'll make a call to him. I think they'll do their homework in the preliminary talks with him. But yeah, I don't think it'll be a conversation, but I don't think he'll seriously consider it. I think
I'd love to see Myles Garrett play for Harbaugh.
Now, listen, would I take him? Sure. Like, let's keep it. Let's roll. Like, would I take it? Awesome. If today they say, you know what, we gonna skip the pleasantries. We got John Harbaugh. See, we're gonna do that a lot.
See, if I'm Harbaugh, I want to. The best choice is really the Bengals, but they don't have, because you got the quarterback.
It'd be cool for him, don't you think, to stick it to the Ravens a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Same division.
How do you? What do you think?
ultimately,
Mike Brown would never
ultimately, when you think about like just if you want to like blow your mind, you think, okay, well, the Browns were stolen by Baltimore.
Yeah.
And then they got this coach for 18 years.
Yeah.
And what if it's the coach of the Ravens that comes back that gets this thing going?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And bring Ozzie out of retirement to be the GM.
Now Ozzie is very loyal to the Modells.
Yeah, but they're dead.
Hey, listen, man, loyalty crosses graves, right?
I don't know. Let's
Sometimes,
go, Ozzie.
Hey,
bring
it
back.
You know,
Ozzie's getting up there too. Right?
He is, I'd be the GM for like a year or two, get it started, then hand it off to somebody else.
When there was the people that asked him, I had a friend who is a really big Browns fan, got to meet Ozzie, and he asked him, he said, you know, he always loved Art Modell because he gave him an opportunity. And at that time, to be a black general manager wasn't a thing. Like, you wasn't getting jobs like
Art
that.
Modell, in that vein, in terms of race relations for his time, was a great man. Yeah. Obviously, what he did to screw up his business.
Yeah.
And
it was he's a checker that, you know, it's like my button up and my little undershirt. It was black and white sometimes, but it's more of a shade of gray. Like, you could do something good as a person, but you can also have some things on your report card. It's like, I got to look at that though too. But Ozzie is loyal to him.
Yeah.
And I think Ozzie getting up there too.
Ozzie's not only one of the best tight ends of all time, he's one of the best GMs of all time.
I don't think
anybody else
unquestionable.
I don't think anybody else has that on their resume.
I mean, what he
great
did,
player and great GM. How many guys?
John Lynch.
Yeah. Lynch has done pretty well.
Yeah, I give you that.
Elway.
Who?
Elway.
Put together that Broncos Super Bowl
He got
team.
Manning for the Broncos.
Yeah. I give it to him.
Yeah, all right. You got three guys. That's a pretty short list, though.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Mike.
All right, let's get to our next topic, guys. Let's talk about some guys that the Browns are for sure going to interview. A quick reminder, we're talking Cavs at the end of the show. Jason and I did an Ultimate Cavs show this morning, so if you want more Cavs than just the one topic at the end, head over to our YouTube page where we talked about the win last night over the Pacers and some of the Max Strus injury updates. That's on our YouTube page right now.
Is that guy ever going to play?
Who? Strus? We got a whole topic on it.
All right.
So we'll get
looking forward to it.
The Browns, now have 3 confirmed head coach interviews in the last 5 minutes. We have learned that Tommy Rees will officially interview for the Browns head coaching job on Thursday. We could dive into that while we talk about the next 2, but we do know their first interview that they have requested is with someone we've already mentioned, Todd Monken, who was here in 2019 as the Browns offensive coordinator. G, if this interview with Monken truly is he could be our head coach and it wasn't some sort of 4D chess to force Harbaugh and all that stuff like some people suggested on Twitter, would you be in favor of Todd Monken becoming the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns? Do you like what he does, or do you think it would not be a good fit?
Again, we speed dating. I'm going to go on the first date to see what you're talking about. We're going to sit down to see if we have anything in common. And as long as we don't say anything crazy, you might make it to a second date. But it's only going to be coffee, though. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be sitting down eating no steaks with you at Morton's or nothing. We're going to be drinking this coffee, having a conversation about the weather and light stuff. I mean, Monken was here before. The thing that concerns me a bit is his personality type. It is, a lot of what was going on in Baltimore was based around whether people in the locker room like Todd Monken or whether or not he was a personality fit. Now, what's unquestionable is the fact that he knows offense. His teams in Georgia, they won back-to-back national championships. They did a really good job of dialing things up at Georgia. I think that under Monken, I thought Lamar Jackson threw the ball very well, and the passing game really elevated in terms of what they was doing offensively. So I like that, but comes to find out, him and Lamar Jackson didn't get along a lot, and it was a sticking point. So for me, it's like finding the right personality with the right mix of offensive mind, with the right mix of motivation. And so for me, I don't know. I would just have to be in the room and understand. I mean, I don't have a problem with them interviewing, but I don't know if I'm gonna just jump out here and be like, I love it or I hate it. We'll figure out if he gets a second interview. But this screams to me preliminary interviews.
But by the way, Todd Monken looks way older than John Harbaugh, even though he's 5 years younger.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'll give you a quick comment. So in 2019, he was the OC here in Cleveland, and I was in the preseason working TV for the Browns, and so I got to be part of the the production meetings. And so I just remember we had a production meeting with Monken one day, and the guy just he's like a lump on a log, like his personality. I'm sure he's a brilliant guy, and he is. He's a very smart guy, good coach, whatever. But like to be a head coach, I didn't get the vibe from him that he's really going to be motivating guys to go out there and run through a wall for him.
Yeah, it does. That tells me really just cements what I was already thinking, that he's not the right guy. I mean, he's been coaching forever. He's only been a head coach for 2 years at was it Southern Miss or something, and that was like over a decade ago. Like. Your first time head coaching gig at 60, I guess it's possible you could have success that way, but
and do you?
I don't know.
And do you want to?
Didn't Bruce Arians get his job and went to Super Bowl in his 60s? His first head job in Arizona.
Yeah.
Bruce Arians would people were talking about him being a head coach. I feel like for a while.
Well, because Pittsburgh kept shutting him.
Yeah, but Monken, who's talking about him being a head coach? He's not getting a lot of buzz.
I think Bull was right.
Not that should matter though.
It's one example I thought of.
Yeah.
The Browns are gonna have to go in a different direction than that personality type. I'm not saying that he's not a smart individual or offense, but could you really do this when you had Kevin Stefanski, right?
Like a blah personality.
The blah personality, I really think you got to infuse some different energy. And if I really thought that they was going to hire him, I don't think that he would be the first guy up. The way I look at the way I go about looking at interviewing, when you look at it interviewing from like a corporate standpoint, you bringing in people to get a nice pool of people to see if you asking the right questions, to kind of get your feet wet in vetting people. And then as you continue to go along, usually, generally speaking, when you're looking for corporate people or guys, or you're a headhunter, you're trying to find a list of traits that you want, but you got to also get your questions together. So
Mike said Kevin Stefanski's the hot candidate because he's getting the first interview. And I agree with G. Bush. Usually the guys you interview first are not the guys likely to get the job.
Well, Stefanski, depending on which place he went, is not the Giants' first interview, is not the Titans' first interview, and I'm not sure about.
I thought he was with the Giants last night.
Yeah, but they already interviewed somebody.
Who?
They had McCarthy lined up after, and they already interviewed. Was it Raheem Morris?
Oh, really?
Morris was technically the first guy.
Bull, what do you think about that?
And also, real quick, while we're talking offensive coordinators, it just came out. Diana Rossini just tweeted the Browns are interviewing the Bengals offensive coordinator, both Dan Pritchard, for their head coaching job.
Pitcher.
What do you think of Dan Pitcher?
I mean,
he's not the coordinator.
He doesn't call the plays for the Bengals offense. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
He might be a good leader. I know he has. He was the Bengals quarterback coach forever, and then when Brian Callahan got the head coaching job in Tennessee, they promoted him. He had been the quarterback coach, so obviously he's got a good relationship with Joe Burrow, which is something that's a positive. But who knows? I don't know if he's head coach material.
Again,
it's so hard to say with all these guys. Tommy Reese has been in the NFL for 1 year. I'm not making him the head coach.
Yeah, I don't think that's an option for him. Look, it's a good opportunity for Tommy to interview for the job.
Yep.
And it's like one of those things, hey, learn how to interview, learn what they ask and different things.
Right.
And sometimes, to be honest with you, these people do people a solid. You may have a relationship with a person,
or an agent,
and you say, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do you a solid. We're gonna bring you in. We'll interview you, and then get your name in a pool of people that can be considered a year or two down the line. Because they'll say he interviewed for this job. Here's what he's done, and now your name is kind of in the hopper, so to speak. But it's rare for you to just jump off the porch and be like, yeah, I'm him. Yeah, I got a job after, no. And Tommy Reese just started calling plays in 5 games.
I don't love the idea of hiring coach who's been in the NFL for 1 year and has called play. Even the called plays, I don't know. I just don't see him being ready to be a head coach.
And then I always got to look at it from this lens, and I continue to look at it from this lens. Andrew Berry don't got 3 years to be chilling and seeing if he's going to have opportunity to pick one coach, right? And you got one chance. That's it.
Yeah.
So you better make it work. So why would you risk that on guys who might be it? Nah, I got to go with something stronger.
Another guy we never even heard. Who's the guy from the Seahawks?
Well, you ready to pivot to that right now?
Yeah, let's pivot to that.
All right, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys help support UCSS in any way you can. We appreciate you. We love y'all, and we'll have you up to date. If the Browns do make a hire and it's not during the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. window, we'll break in live in the afternoon with some shorts, some breaking news, and we'll get you on stream. So make sure you're staying with us for all your Browns coaching search needs. We knew that they were going to interview Todd Monken. We just learned about Tommy Rees and Dan Pitcher, but we did also learn yesterday that they are bringing in Aden Durde, who is the defensive coordinator.
We don't even know how to pronounce his name.
No, I said
I've never heard of this guy
it
before.
is not a
At all.
confident thing.
Could be making
He's
it
currently
up.
the Seattle defensive coordinator, does not call plays.
He's not a play caller.
Assistant coach previously. He was Dallas's defensive line coach for a couple years. He was a Falcons assistant. He was the defensive coordinator for the London Warriors between 2011 and 2016. He does have a British accent, so if you're into accents, he'd be a great hire.
cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd love to hear him talk.
This is like the reverse Ted Lasso here.
And Earl says it's dirty, like dirty. Is how
Dirty?
it's pronounced.
Yeah.
So Aden Dirty.
Aden Durde. So
Highly
it's an
regarded
interesting
from
story.
Seattle.
He played football in
Rod
England in
Yes.
college.
Right. Nah, I'm cool.
He played. Who knows? This guy might. This is like hiring David Blatt. I feel
Yeah,
like.
this is.
And listen, he's been in the NFL
Their
for a
defense
while.
this year in Seattle is awesome.
Yeah, now
Right.
he's not the play caller, but he's part of the coaching staff. So, who knows? I mean, he does. He does satisfy the Rooney Rule too. That's. I don't want to say that's why they're interviewing him alone, but it's part of the process.
Yeah, it is.
I hate to say that.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Which, hey, listen, we ain't got to skip around that. The NFL made that rule.
Yeah.
I ain't got to be ashamed about it. They made the rule. It basically makes a mockery out of it because
I think it had good intent.
good intentions, but in practice, it
it's-
don't really work out like that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Can I say something on Dirty real quick?
Yeah.
So I got sent this by a couple of people last night. This is from Brian Nemhauser, who has 60,000 followers and is a credentialed journalist podcaster covering the Seahawks for the last 18-plus years.
Okay.
So I'm going to take what he says as
All right.
at least credible in a sense.
Yeah.
You can see his bio on the screen. I'm going to read it. It's a little bit long, but this is what Brian Nemhauser said. He said, quote, "For Browns fans curious about Aden Durde, here are my observations after 2 years in Seattle. Absolute stud, knows who he is, and is always at ease. Dynamic personality, no question he could command a room and lead men. Bit of a unicorn, spent time learning on the personnel and on the coaching side. Players love him. Multiple former Cowboys came to Seattle because he was here. DeMarcus Lawrence told me personally he would not have been in Seattle if AD was not the defensive coordinator. Tireless worker, even as a DC, always getting his hands dirty with positional drills. Specializes in pass rush and edge play, always refining technique and approach. Tends to lean more towards rushing for and playing coverage versus sending extra rushers. Humble learner, does not think he's got it all figured out. Pushes Mike McDonald while also learning from him. They're a terrific pair. Has had some play calling experience during preseason, but not during the regular season. He and McDonald collaborate on the approach throughout games, so he has play calling influence. Smart, very little question. He will pick up what he needs to know in order to run a full team. The biggest question is lack of play calling responsibilities and pedigree. Also not clear what his offensive philosophy would be or who he would tap into for that.
I mean,
there you
based
go.
on that
Little background.
write-up, he sounds like a legitimate candidate that would be worth
Up and comer.
talking to. So, yeah.
He's an up and comer.
You never know, right?
I'm not writing off anybody, dude. I mean, we're not in these interviews and whatever. Maybe it's the Rooney Rule. It satisfies that, or maybe all of a sudden because they are satisfying the Rooney Rule, they stumble upon somebody who's a really hell of a good coach.
Yeah, we didn't know what Sean McVay was before he became Sean McVay.
No.
We didn't know what Mike Tomlin was before he became Mike Tomlin. I mean, you never know.
I think the problem with when you bring in anybody as a defensive name besides Brian Flores, right? And then maybe it's just us because, like you say, we pick a name, we fixate on a name, and then that's just who it is. But we don't know what the criteria they're looking for. Now, you have Jim Schwartz here. Now, if you polled the audience and you said, we're going to bring in a new defensive mind, you say, is it Brian Flores? They say no. Most people are going to be like, well, I don't want no other defensive coach. Like, if you're going to do that, you're going to go defense.
If the Browns hired him to be the head coach, He might be we might not know he might be the greatest candidate ever. Fans are going to hate it across the board.
Yeah.
Which I get, but you can't make decisions based on the fan reaction.
Right.
You just can't do that.
And plus, like, I'm gathering that, hey, if they brought him in for the interview and they thought he was going to be, a next up-and-coming great head coach, there's probably a lot of people in the locker room that say, he's not more qualified to do this job than Jim Schwartz is. Jim Schwartz has already been a head coach at one point in time.
Yeah.
He already runs the defense. We arguably got one of the best defense in the league. Your best players play very well under him, and he's familiar. So those are all of the
right.
things
And
that,
I could say, again, this doesn't happen all the time, but I bet there were a lot of fans that when the Rams hired Sean McVay would have rather had John Gruden.
That is correct.
So
it's because it's name brand recognition,
exactly.
and we don't know.
And you never know. Like maybe this guy, maybe in the end they decide to make Jim Schwartz the head coach.
He's interviewing Thursday. That just came out as well. So him and Reese will both interview Thursday.
And they're like, well, we like this guy. Maybe they make him the defensive coordinator, and Jim Schwartz is a veteran. Is like, okay, I'll call the plays the first year. I'll turn it over to you the second year. And maybe he leaves Seattle for the Browns because he gets to call plays. I'm just speculating.
What if
that's entirely possible?
What if this is a bit of not him specifically with Reese? What if this is a bit of self-scouting? Like, what if they bring Tommy in and they want him? Because I've done this before. I've gone on interviews for these jobs, and it's like, okay, we have a revenue problem. We have a contract problem. Let me know what you would do to increase revenue based on these different things, or how would you foster a relationship with this client, or how could you make a process better? And so you go in with a whole homework project, and you basically turn it in, and if it's good enough, they'll say, ooh, you know what, we like it, we'll give you another position, but you ain't gonna get this position, right? You're not gonna get the coach position. Tommy Reese, I'm wondering if they listen, I want you to figure out, can you tell me what you thought of Shedeur Sanders outside of what Kevin Stefanski is? If you were going to be the coach, what is it that you would do? Do you think Deshaun Watson is washed? Which one of these quarterbacks in college would you potentially take? And some of it is intel, because you're picking the brains of people that were already in the building that know, and you could get an unfiltered kind of conversation on different ideas that you may even eventually want to implement. So I think it is smart to bring in young guys, because young people are going to have a different way of looking at it, a different perspective, and you might come across something and be like, you know what, I never thought about that, Dustin. When we get that, we might want to implement that.
So we're up to 5 coaches that we know of that the Browns are interviewing at this point.
Of the 5, real quick.
Yeah.
And Harbaugh does not fall into this category. He's not an answer before we move on to our topic.
Yeah.
Before
Who
we
are the
get to Ross.
5?
Tommy Reese.
Okay.
Jim Schwartz. Dan Pitcher, the offensive coordinator for the Bengals. Aden Durde, the defensive coordinator for Seattle. And Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. If you had to pick of those 5 right now, who would be your choice?
Oh, God. I guess Schwartz.
So I would go 60% Jim Schwartz, 40% the field.
Yeah, probably with you there.
40 the field.
Okay. I mean,
just simply based on names.
Monken would be my last choice. Well, no, Tommy, I won't want Tommy Reese or Monken to be the head coach. Dan Pitcher's been around a while, but I mean, he's only been a coordinator for 1 year. Or maybe it's 2 years.
Who do you guys? I mean, I think if you out of those guys, I think Schwartz's resume looks the best.
Schwartz would be the top choice out of that group of 5. By the way, if the Browns don't interview Harbaugh, it means one or two things.
He's not interested.
It means he's not interested, which is damning.
Swipe left.
Or they're not interested, which is damning. Either way, it's any team that doesn't interview Harbaugh. It doesn't say good things about that team.
There should be only one reason why they don't interview Harbaugh.
They didn't,
and it's on Harbaugh.
That's right.
They didn't make the cut. I don't think they made the cut. Like it's like, you know.
I mean, if you're Harbaugh, wouldn't you listen to every team just to see what they got to offer?
He might. His agent might take the call.
I'm 4 years old. I've been at one organization my whole career. I mean, you've earned the right to talk to everybody.
And the interesting thing about Harbaugh is, like, if he decides to wait to make his decision, he's going to hold up all the other hiring.
Everybody, yep.
Unless unless teams have been specifically told that they're at
Yeah.
But if let's say he's considering 4 different teams, none of those teams are going to hire a coach until they hear from him.
So think about it. Think about it like this. Think of another mythical radio station just popped up.
Yeah.
And they're a startup. They got a bunch of money. They come to the market. They're like, oh, we want to do a show. Bull and Fox, they on this show. Let's look at Bull and Fox. They was a great tandem. Look at the ratings. They bring y'all in and they say, hey, guys, we got a perfect opportunity for you. Radio in Cleveland, 5 hours on our station. You guys are going to look at him and be like, listen, thanks, but no thanks. Preliminary.
Depends on the money.
Unless
that
bag got to be crazy.
It's got to be a 5X bag.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you have that conversation, when they get on the phone with both of you, and they tell one of the person the bag, and then they tell the other person the bag, and it ain't where it would need to be, you're going to say, hey, listen, we appreciate the phone call. You know what I'm saying? We wish you the best of luck in the endeavors. But it ain't going to get to know. Y'all not going to take no time out of your busy schedules to pull up and put a suit on and go through a 3-4 hour interview. You're not going to send in no demo tape. I'm cool at this point.
This is the minimum the bag would have to be. I'm not saying it on the air. Minimum.
Can we see that bag?
Yeah, almost at it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the minimum.
I'd say north of that.
Yeah,
that number would be where I would start considering.
That would get me to walk in the door to interview.
Yes.
But it's 5 hours.
But I'm interviewing them, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's 5, and then here's how I know y'all, because I dealt with y'all before. You would then immediately start negotiating to get it knocked down from 5 hours.
100%.
Like it was. No. We gonna can we do 2.5? And
that's
then
what you did. That's what you get when you have the leverage. And in this situation,
That's right.
Harbaugh has
it all.
He has all the leverage.
All the leverage.
So I ain't doing that.
Guys, we got one last topic we got to get to before Ross comes, and I want to do this topic before Ross is going to lead us into a discussion I think Ross can help us have. Before we do that, head over to our YouTube page after we finish up UCSS. Earl did a 216 this morning on the Harbaugh situation, on the Browns coaching search. It was not with Cecil, I don't think. It was just Earl today. So make sure you head over, check out Earl this morning on the Ultimate 216 show. When Ross joins us, we could ask him this question. And G, you actually mentioned this earlier about Harbaugh and how there's a disconnect between how Ravens fans felt about John Harbaugh at the end of his tenure.
Well, let's not put them at the same level.
We felt. But there was a disconnect between the fan and the national audience.
Yeah.
We in Cleveland seems to have a disconnect between how a lot of us, including myself, who wanted Kevin Stefanski out as head coach, and how other people are regarding Kevin Stefanski. He's been called before the Harbaugh news the top candidate on the market by a number of different national writers that covered the NFL. And, Bo, I'm curious from you who worked in other markets besides Cleveland in media. Mm-hmm. Why do you think sometimes, and we could use Stefanski, but this is not just Stefanski, this is just everybody. Why is there such a disconnect between how local fans and people in a city where a coach or a player has played can have one perception of a person, but it be completely the opposite of the national perception?
Because in most parts of the country, you look at the Browns as a joke, right? If you're a fan of any other team, even if you're a fan of a team that's also a joke, like in New York, if you're a fan of the Jets, like the Jets are as inept as the Browns are. It's just as bad an organization. But even Jet fans will look at the Browns, even though they will look at themselves as a joke too, they'll also look at the Browns as a joke. And they'll say, well, the coach won 2 they're not watching. If you're in New York or L.A. or Chicago, anywhere, are you ever watching the Browns play unless they play your team?
No.
Never. No. And so they're seeing, what are they seeing? They're seeing Kevin Stefanski took the Browns to the playoffs twice when they hadn't been in the playoffs forever before that. He's won 2 Coach of the Years. He has, you go back to 23, they had terrible quarterback play and they made the playoffs. And then he ended the season, they beat Joe Burrow, they beat Aaron Rodgers, and they played well against the Bills and hung in there. So if you're another fan from another team that's not in the minutia, is not paying attention to the play calling, is not paying attention to the mistakes in terms of leadership, doesn't know anything about how Alex Van Pelt got the organization forced him out and Kevin Stefanski didn't stand up for him. Like these things you wouldn't know in other places. And that's not unique to here. It's just that because the Browns are so bad, you're even more likely to believe, oh, it's not the coach's fault. It's the same thing. Like, I have a lot of friends that are Jets fans. They feel like they assume everything's going to go wrong there too. It's like, you listen to when it's a bad team, the player that's good or the coach that is perceived as good will get the benefit of the doubt, right? So that's why.
Back in the day, we always used to give the Patriots the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Yeah. Everything they did.
Everything they did
Right.
or everything they touched
The Patriot
turned to
way.
gold. The Patriot way, them drafting a tackle,
Yeah.
or them doing this, or them trading out of the first round,
Right.
or doing the. It's like, wow, the Patriots passed on this
Right.
guy, or this guy's going to be a star.
And it could change,
Yeah.
right? Because the Giants for years were considered a model organization, and now they've been terrible for a decade almost. So it changes, but you always want to go back. It's like when the Bengals got Burrow, they got a little more respect in the league, but the Bungles is still always sitting there because of Mike Brown.
Yep.
And the moment they screw up, everybody's ready to jump back on. They're a joke. Burrow should ask for a trade. That's, it's hard to change that reputation.
Well, and in Cleveland, it's not just the team that stinks. They make fun of the city, and they think
Yeah.
no one's to live there. It's okay. Like,
Which
at
is
least
so dumb.
It is so dumb. You've lived here now. It's been
I would never
15
move.
years. But like the New York fans are like, well, we still got New York City.
You're right. Yeah.
And they think that's the greatest
Yeah.
city on the planet.
And I don't want no parts of that.
No, I don't either.
I just think that you made a lot of good points. I think it's like, the fans here or wherever you are in the city is invested. They are invested in every play. They're invested in every article, every hire, every cut, fifth round move, the minutia. When you're in the national media, like, you cover football, Dustin. You cover college football. I mean, you're flying in. You get a couple of days to watch the team, a couple of days to interview the coach, maybe some top players. Get prepared, learn some names, go shoot the game, and you out. You boom, 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 you out. You're not in there interviewing the coach and the beat reporters, and those guys are the dudes that are there every single day. So it's like you literally, as a national guy, do not have time actually to prepare for much of anything. You're just getting surface level content, like especially if you cover 4 or 5.
I always say I'm parachuting in for 2 days. And I got to learn everything in 2 days to be able to make it sound like I think I know what I'm talking about.
The Jason Bourne, the Bourne identity. They drop you in an unmarked location, off on the
Gather as much intel as possible in 2 days.
Go to a safe house, get 10,000 in unmarked bills, 3 or 4 guns, and 4 passports in the woods, right? And a change of clothes, right? And a cyanide pill just in case you get caught by the ops, so you off yourself. So I mean, that kit. That's the CIA Black Ops kit right there. Like, shout out to Tom Clancy. But no, man, like, we don't be knowing. Like, you got 5 or 6 stories. The producer gonna come in there. What do you think about this? You gonna give you a little 2 sentences about it, and we gonna cut it up, and then you gonna go to baseball.
When the Browns hired Jim Schwartz to be their defensive coordinator, I'm sure there were fans in Detroit saying, "Oh, he stinks."
Yeah, of course.
He was the head coach there, and he's terrible. And that's just the way it goes. You know your guys better than other people do.
And then, if, say, for instance, like, Kevin Stefanski took his team to the playoffs in the first year. Everybody thought he was the greatest in slice. Like,
right.
You're the greatest of all time until you wear out your welcome. The reality is, in football and coaching has never been so microwavable ever. Like, you talk about it in the NFL, you can talk about it in basketball. Like, guys are just, they don't even care about Coach of the Year in basketball.
No, meaningless.
It's meaningless. Like,
when Marvin Lewis started with the Bengals, I was like, oh, he's a tremendous coach. He's doing a good job. By the end, I was like, this guy's the worst coach in football. Get him out of here.
Because you get used to it.
Right. You reach a level. And that's why Steeler fans are frustrated with Mike Tomlin. For us, we say, he has a winning record every year. For them, it's like, he loses in the first round every year.
Are any of you guys surprised at the difference with Stefanski in particular now between how fans feel and how the national media feels?
No, I'm a little, I don't know. I mean, let's see if Stefanski actually ends up with a job and how he does.
And his personality type has a lot to do with why people come to his aid. Stefanski, to his credit, he He didn't come out publicly and say anything crazy against anybody. He hasn't had any media tiffs where he said anything crazy. As a matter of fact, he's never said anything moving ever. Like, he's very, like, when you see him, so he gives you no reason to outwardly not like him as a human. He's a likable person. So the more likable you are, the more opportunity people are going to give you, especially if they don't really know you from afar.
The reason he's getting the hype is because he's a 2-time coach of the year. That's it. If I would ask my Sean Marash, who I mentioned referenced earlier, who works in New York and he's like, we got to get Stefanski or Harbaugh. If I said, why do you want Stefanski? His answer would be, he's the 2-time coach of the year. That was it. He knows nothing about Stefanski. Nothing.
I have Giants.
You don't know the ins and outs.
I have friends back home who are Giants fans.
Yeah.
I've been asking about Stefanski.
Yeah.
And it's always, I hear he runs a great offense.
Yeah.
2-time coach of the year.
And then you're like, huh?
Maybe he would. And I'm like,
but dude, I do the post-game show, and we talk about 13 points every week. But here's the thing, though, too. I think a lot of stuff that we in our fears about is, this is why this talking point started to happen so much. Watch what he does if he goes somewhere else. There's also this great fear that we're missing out on something because of what happened in our past. We take a look at Belichick, right? Anybody that has left Cleveland has had a level of success. I can talk about Ernest Biner. He fumbled here. He goes to the Washington Commanders or Redskins at the time, wins the Super Bowl. We cut Bernie. He goes in and wins the Super Bowl. Troy, he wins a playoff
back
game.
up there.
But he played playoffs.
Playoff
like out of nowhere, learning the playbook. You take a look at Bill Belichick's the obvious one.
Yeah.
Look at all those coaching trees where you had Saban in the building at one point in time. Yeah. Belichick was here. I believe Gruden was on that staff, or one of the younger guys.
There were other great coaches. I don't think it was Gruden.
It might have not been Gruden, but if you look at that, there was.
But lately, it hasn't been the case. I mean, none of the Browns.
Shermer hasn't had success. Mike Pettin didn't have success.
No.
Chud hadn't had success.
Hugh Jackson.
But
Kitchens hasn't had success.
We always remember the hits, though. We don't remember the duds. We just remember, hey, Baltimore in 3 years won the Super Bowl. Bill Belichick won the most Super Bowls of all time, and then Nick Saban was the god of.
Since Belichick, as far as I can tell, there's been no coach or GM here that has had success anywhere else.
That is
since Belichick.
Correct. Farmer, Banner. Holmgren.
And by the way, the Browns did not fire Bill Belichick. The Baltimore Ravens fired Bill Belichick.
That is correct. But that goes on your CD because you're the Browns.
Coward that?
Well,
because you're the Browns, you absorb that.
Yeah, right.
You get that. You got to take that.
All right, Mike, we got Ross?
We do have Ross.
All right,
we're going to bring Ross in after a quick word from FanDuel. Guys, FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, and they have a new partnership on Fridays to make your kickoff to the weekend even better. It's called NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts, so before tip-off. Check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA's Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. With that, we got Ross Tucker joining the show. And Ross, we were just having a discussion that I want you to kind of chime in on about why there may be a little bit of a disconnect between how Cleveland fans feel at the end of Kevin Stefanski's tenure, and I think a lot of people were ready to move on, and then a lot of people in the national media and from around the country who are calling Kevin, or at least were calling Kevin, the top coaching candidate on the market before we got the John Harbaugh news yesterday. Can you kind of give us a little insight on why there may be a bit of a disconnect there?
Yeah, it's not unique to Cleveland at all. I mean, that's the exact same way Steelers fans feel about Mike Tomlin. It's the same way, quite frankly, a lot of Ravens fans felt about John Harbaugh. I think a couple things. One is it's a little different when you watch a team week in and week out.
That's right.
Every single snap, as opposed to, from a 30,000-foot view. Also, there's always going to be some level of fatigue with anybody that's been there. Kevin was there a long time. Certainly Tomlin and John Harbaugh have been in their respective places, or Harbaugh was, for a long time. So I live in Harrisburg, right? And it's the state capital in Pennsylvania. A lot of Steelers fans. And They have not won a playoff game since 2016. Now, do I think Steelers fans are a little bit spoiled? Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's not your birthright to win Super Bowls just because you grew up in Western PA, you know? However, that being said, they're tired of Tomlin. I mean, I know a lot of Steelers fans that wanted to lose that game on Sunday night. They wanted Luke for the Ravens to make the field goal so that Tomlin would leave. And they acknowledge he's a good coach. They acknowledge that he would get hired right away by somebody else, but they felt like it was time. And that's how a lot of Browns fans felt, right or wrong. I think Stefanski is a really good coach, and I think he will get hired somewhere else. But I do think there's something to that message getting stale and needing new blood. Harbaugh in Baltimore was going the wrong direction. A couple of years ago, they were the number 1 seed, and they lost in the conference championship game to the Ravens, to the Chiefs. Last year, they lost in the divisional round. This year, they didn't even make the playoffs. I mean, imagine having Lamar Jackson, and he's won 3 playoff games.
Yeah.
I mean, Flacco won 10. Harbaugh won 3 times, over 3 times many playoff games with Flacco as he's won with Lamar Jackson. Lamar very easily could have been the MVP last year, which means he could have had the same number of MVP awards as playoff wins, playoff victories.
Yeah,
so the dynamic going on with you guys in Cleveland and Stefanski, that's not unique to you. That is very common when you talk about national perspective and people who realize, hey, it's pretty impressive that Stefanski was coach of the year twice, and twice he got the Browns to the playoffs when this happened and that happened and they weren't getting great, whatever, right? But for you guys in Cleveland, you're like, hey, we just watched every game in the last 2 years. They haven't been able to do anything. They're not improving. What are you talking about? How great of a coach can he be? Totally get that. Same with Steelers fans. They're sick of being 9-8. They're sick of being 10-7. They'd almost rather have a terrible year and get a top 5 quarterback and feel like they have a legitimate chance. Because even now, they're happy they won the division. They're happy they have a home playoff game. But they don't really think that they're going to go very far. This year actually gives them a little bit of hope because there's no Mahomes, there's no Burrow, there's no Lamar Jackson. So I think that, they don't want to admit it, but they're thinking maybe they have a chance, to do something here, but probably not.
Yeah, fair.
Ross, I played for Harbaugh for a year in Philly prior to him taking the Baltimore job. I loved my time that I spent with him, and to this day, I mean, like I ran into him a few years ago on the sidelines of a Browns game, and he remembered stories from back when I played, like 20 years ago. He's a great guy, great coach. I would love him to be in Cleveland. I don't think it'll happen, but if you're the Browns, can you pitch something to Harbaugh? And if you're Harbaugh, what would you accept in Cleveland? There's a shot.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible! Look how big your shoulder pads were. You're playing corner.
Huge.
Hey,
Ross, you played in 06. You know what it was like.
Them 2000s pads was different, and don't put a cowboy collar on, boy.
That is funny. Here's the pitch. Here's the pitch. Like, I'll pretend I'm Jimmy Haslam.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, John, you played against us twice this year. You saw we had by far the best rookie class in the NFL. So what does that mean? That means we've got very inexpensive future stars at positions like tight end, linebacker, not even future stars. They might already be. Also, as you know, with the trade we made with the Jags, we have a couple first-round picks. We're going to let you help pick our next quarterback, whether that's a veteran to compete with Shedeur Sanders, whether you like somebody in the draft. And you know what else we have, John, that most people don't have? We have low expectations, and we have a chance for you to get back at the Ravens. For the Ravens to fire you after 18 years with everything that you did for them, how great would it be for you to come here and turn Cleveland into the beast of the AFC North, stick it to the Ravens, stick it to Lamar Jackson, who it seems like maybe you guys don't get along that well, and How many games have we won here in Cleveland the last 2 years? 7, 8? You know fully well, John, with the type of coach you are, you're going to be able to come in and win 7 or 8 games in year one. You're going to be a hero because you're going to make the Browns competitive again for the first time in 3 years. And after that, the sky will be the limit.
It's a good pitch.
Great pitch.
It's a great pitch.
Yeah.
I would think, though, Ross, that he would also obviously have to pay a crazy amount of money, which Jimmy is not afraid to do. I credit him for that. I would also think Harbaugh's not taking the job unless Andrew Berry's fired or moved to a position where he's not picking players. What do you say about that?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know how Harbaugh feels about Andrew Berry. I think that's a possibility, but they kind of have the Sashi Brown was there with Andrew, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Did Sashi Brown hire Andrew? I can't remember.
Oh,
I don't remember. Did he? I can't remember.
Or maybe he came after him. Yeah. At any rate, Andrew Berry, I know a lot of you guys don't want to hear this, but I do think he's held in pretty high regard by a lot of people. Harbaugh obviously came from Philly with Howie Roseman and that whole deal, which is where Andrew Berry came from. Yep. So you might be right. There's a chance, whether it's Cleveland or the New York Giants, that Harbaugh has enough juice that he can get the team to move on from the GM. I mean, he's going to have a number of suitors. So if you're him, unless he loves Joe Shane or loves Andrew Berry, if you have the chance to kind of pick the guy you're going to work with, then yeah, I mean, if you have that leverage and that power, then do it. But, on some level, I think when you see what Andrew Berry did over the past year or so, I don't know. I mean, the Travis Hunter trade looks pretty darn good. The draft class looks pretty darn good. Maybe you want Andrew Berry to have one more year and then move on from him.
Sorry, Ross, but he's been here 6 years. You got no quarterback, no wide receivers, and no offensive linemen. That's on him too.
Fair. Big swing and miss on the quarterback. I think the receivers, there's not like the Durde contract's a bad contract. I mean, it's funny because they had nobody. So Durde was the best guy they could get. Durde was the best guy they had. They needed to have somebody. And so they have treated Durde like a number one when he's really probably a high end two.
This year worse than that.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah. I think Durde would look a lot better on the books if you didn't have to depend on him as a number one. I do think that. Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, we talked about it. You mentioned either bringing somebody in to compete or if you're going to draft a quarterback. What do you make of Shedeur Sanders and his development throughout the year, from his first start to the last start, and where do you think the Browns' idea and what the thought process is on what they want to see from him in the evaluation moving forward in terms of what they believe they need at quarterback?
Right now, what pick do the Browns have?
6.
Yeah, I think I would be inclined, depends on the head coach, obviously, but I would be inclined to go with a veteran and keep Shedeur as my young guy, developmental guy to compete with that veteran. I'm not convinced that a quarterback that they would draft would necessarily be better than Shedeur, especially if he gets reps in the offseason. But you can't just go with Shedeur. I mean, I wouldn't take Ty Simpson from Alabama over Shedeur. I think Dante Moore, I probably would. I think if Dante Moore entered the draft, the problem is I don't think he'd go till 6. I think Dante Moore would go number 2 to the Jets.
Yeah.
The Raiders are taking Mendoza 1. He probably, as a player, reminds Brady of himself. I think if Dante Moore turns pro, which he should, he'll go number 2 to the Jets. I'm not drafting another guy if I'm the Browns. I'm bringing in a veteran one way or the other, have them compete if that's the case with Shedeur Sanders, And then if that doesn't work out, then take my quarterback chance in 2027 in that draft. I'm not like forcing the third quarterback in this draft.
What are your thoughts? Now, I think Andrew Berry said as of today, he believes Deshaun Watson will be on this roster. As a veteran option, what are your thoughts on Deshaun Watson? Do you think he's finished? Do you think he's washed? Do you think he has something left? Or do you think he'll still be on the roster and they'll go get somebody else?
That's an interesting one, too, as it relates to, whoever the new head coach would be. So this is always the thing I think is so interesting with these head coaching interviews. Do they, let's say I was getting interviewed by the Browns. Mm-hmm. Do I go in there and tell them what I really think? Or do I go in there and tell them what I think they want to hear?
Yeah.
And then, by the way, what do they want to hear? Do they want to hear a guy come in there and say, listen, I can make it work with Deshaun Watson, or I think Shedeur Sanders showed enough that with me, I think he'll be a winning quarterback next year? Or do they want the guy to come in and say, I don't want Watson or Shedeur. Let me get Mac Jones. Let me get Kirk Cousins, whoever, right? I'm just making up names at this point. That's one of the most interesting dynamics to me in head coach interviews is, do they want you to really tell you what they think, or do they want you to tell them what you want to hear? And then if you're the head coach candidate, what do? Do you tell them what you really think, or do you tell them what you think they want? Do you try to find out behind the scenes, what they really want you to say, and then you say that? And by the way, what do you guys want the Browns to say? Do you what do people in Cleveland want at the quarterback position?
I think it's mixed.
It's mixed.
It's mixed on Shedeur. I think most people are done with Deshaun Watson, I would say.
Yeah, most people don't believe that Deshaun Watson has any Sam Darnold in him. I think they're a little soured on it. I think they're soured on the contract, the money. Now,
I think they should just cut him and take the cap hit and live with it.
I can't take the cap hit. I'm gonna let him hang around. I need to fill my roster. As long as he don't do nothing crazy, he can sit there. And look, maybe I'm a fool, but I didn't see Baker Mayfield resurrect his career. I never thought Sam Darnold would be where he is today. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee that Deshaun Watson is going to be some sort of great quarterback. He's had a lot of injuries, and it's been years since we seen him in Houston. It's been years. So I don't know, but would anybody be intrigued by a guy who in his prime was considered a top 3 or 5 quarterback at one point? Sure, they might be, but I don't think that's a likelihood.
I think, Ross, when it comes to Shedeur, unfortunately, people have taken their sides and picked their camps on Shedeur, when the reality is kind of what you said, and I'm in that reality. It's like I've seen enough that I'd be interested in seeing more if there's not a clear, better option, but I clearly haven't seen enough that I'm sure he's the guy. So I would want to have competition for him and then see how it goes.
It's actually exactly where you don't want to be.
That's true. Yes.
You want to, you wish he would have either played so well that you knew he was the guy and everybody's on board, like Tyler Shuck, by the way, in New Orleans.
Yep.
Or you wish that he would have, I'm not going to say you wish he would play badly, but it'd be nice if it was clearer, know, that if he had really just been awful, then I think everybody would agree, okay, move on. Instead, he's kind of in that middling area, which makes it a little bit tougher, and people can, like you said, pick their sides. Although I will say this, right or wrong, there are people that will tell you that if you feel like I do or you feel like Bull does, that already tells you all you need to know.
Maybe so.
Like if you're not sure or you have a decent amount of doubt whether or not he's your guy, then you have to go out and try to get somebody that is your guy, because if you don't have conviction about it that he is your guy, then he's not.
Hey, I meant to bring this up on the show yesterday. I'm going to ask Ross this question because I watched the game on Sunday. Everyone's talking about like the Sam Darnold. Who's the next Darnold? Who's the next Geno Smith or one of these quarterbacks that can revive their career? Boy, Trubisky looked good on Sunday.
Oh, boy.
What's going to happen with that dude? Is he an option for the Browns or for somebody else to be a starter?
I don't think so.
No?
I think
Throwing a name
no,
out there.
no,
man.
no.
You guys can laugh all you
I
want.
think
Threw 3 touchdown
it's
passes
not
against the
outside
Jets.
the realm of possibility. And Darnold, it was his 3rd team in San Francisco, kind of rehabbed him. His 4th team is when he played well, the Vikings. Baker Mayfield, it was his 3rd team, the Rams, that kind of rehabbed him. Yep. His 4th team, the Bucks, that he started to excel with. So Trubisky went Chicago, Pittsburgh. Now he's in Buffalo. I mean, maybe. I don't know that one game is enough.
Against the worst team in football.
Someone's going to really give him that shot is the issue.
I'm not saying someone's going to sign him to a huge contract. I'm just saying like maybe it's an opportunity. You spent 2 years behind the best quarterback in football.
He is local. He's a Cleveland kid.
Dude, I mean, we're in no position to write off anything.
Hey, man.
Fair enough.
Hey, man. If we're going to take Mitch Trubisky, I seen Shedeur Sanders throw for 360.
There you go. Last thing. Yeah, it's true. Last thing, Ross, before you go, your favorite coaching candidates that you've heard out there, besides obviously Stefanski and Harbaugh?
That's a good question. Probably Jesse Minter with the Chargers.
Wow.
That's interesting. Okay.
He's
like
pretty impressive.
What about Chris Shula?
And what they've done. Yeah, I don't know Chris. I've talked with Jesse a couple of times. I don't know Chris. I mean, he's done a nice job as well. But I think Jesse Minter is one that, it sounds like Minter is the hottest of the coordinator candidates, is how I would describe it.
Interesting. Ross, thanks,
I also
man.
think,
Go ahead.
there's a decent chance Robert Saleh gets a job.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
Because the Jets are an organization where it's almost like it doesn't count what you do there,
That's true. I love Flores. I love Flores. I don't think it's going to end up with him here, but I love him.
No, it sounds like he's going to the Raiders with Brady.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Ross. We appreciate it.
Appreciate
as always.
it.
Great stuff.
All right, see you guys.
Later, Ross Tucker.
That was
I forgot
Ross
about later
Tucker.
dudes.
Appreciate Ross. It was a great addition to the show this year. Hopefully
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
back next year. But always love talking ball with Ross. And we have a winning FanDuel ticket, guys. Our boy Darren has sent in a couple winning tickets, including
Darren.
this one. Darren Smith. Our guy Darren Smith.
That's all he does.
Take it full. He turned a 17-leg $5 bet. Same game parlay into $397.83.
He's like
it was
my
an
buddy Josh. He
NBA.
probably puts in 20 of those a day.
He probably does.
He does, and he's won a couple. So shout out to our guy Darren Smith. Turned $5 into $397.83. If you have a winning ticket, just like our guy Darren, make sure you send it in to us, tweet it at us, email us, however you want to get it to us. Make sure you get it to us so we can feature it right here on the show.
Nice.
All right, guys. One last Browns topic to get to before we pivot over and talk a little Cavs. Answer Bulls' burning question of when we're going to see Max Strus back.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But before we do that, we have officially learned and finalized the Browns' 2026 opponents. If you haven't seen this yet, Bull, the Browns have 8 home games for the upcoming season. They'll play their 3 divisional games, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bengals. At home in Cleveland, they'll also face the Raiders, who currently have the number 1 overall pick. Your guy and my guy, Bryce Young, and the Carolina Panthers. A new head coach in the Atlanta Falcons, the Houston Texans, and the Indianapolis Colts.
Fairly favorable home schedule outside of the division.
For sure.
Yeah.
On the road, they play 9 road games. They're 3 divisional games. They make 2 trips to New York to play both the Giants and the Jets. They head down to Jacksonville to take on Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence and company.
They're playing a lot of games
Tyler
next year
Shuck.
against teams of their 11 non-division games. Many of them are against teams that right now we think are bad. Now,
correct.
Teams can improve just like the Browns can improve.
They also play Tampa and Baker, assuming Baker's back, and Cam Ward and maybe Kevin Stefanski if that turns into an eventual partnership between those two. So, Dustin,
why
you
think Kevin Stefanski's going to the Titans?
I said maybe. He could also go to the Giants. So who knows? Yeah. Could be John Harbaugh at any of those. But Dustin, seeing the 17 opponents for next year, do you feel like this is a favorable draw for the Browns?
Pop him back up there while I give the take here.
So the non-division games, you got Raiders, Colts,
I would
Texans,
say,
Falcons, Panthers.
Off the top of my head, that's fine. I mean, I don't look at it like, oh, it's extremely, outrageous.
They're playing. I mean, the
Giants
on the road, they're playing four of the worst teams right now in football, including themselves, Giants, Jets, Saints, and Titans are all bad right now.
Yeah,
doesn't mean they'll be bad next year.
You just don't know. I mean, the hardest part about our schedule is our own division. I mean, that's what scares me the most.
Although the division was down this year,
it was, but it's always
year.
Pretty good. And it's
usually.
competitive. At least within division, it's pretty competitive.
Yes.
Yeah, I've soured on the schedule game because it's just not it just don't ever work. Like nobody would have picked the Browns to beat the Packers this year. Nobody. Like then at the end of the season, even the final 2 weeks, nobody would have picked the Browns to be either the Steelers or the Bengals. So it's like you never know.
And you would have picked them to beat some of the teams they lost to, like the Jets.
Like the Jets or the Titans. So you never know. Everything is year to year.
Yeah.
And especially when you got the NFC South teams, 1 year I would expect that next year is the Falcons' year, and then you don't know what's going to be traditionally strong teams. Like you said, AFC North has been dominant for the last 10 years, but then we were terrible this year.
I don't think did the Browns not travel further west than Cincinnati?
Let's pull up the road games again and do a little mental math here.
No, that's a home game.
No, the Colts are at home. Is Nashville further west than Cincinnati?
I don't think so.
It's not.
Looking at a map.
It's New Orleans, maybe? New Orleans?
Further west?
It's close, probably.
It's right on it. It's close.
I mean, they're not. New Orleans is I believe, is in the Central Time Zone, where Cincinnati is not.
New Orleans is Central Time Zone.
So they don't play any game. They play one game in the Central Time Zone, and the rest of the games are all in the Eastern Time Zone.
So this is the biggest point.
Remember, they could end up one of the road games.
Nashville's Central Time too, by the way.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Nashville's further west than Cincinnati, but it is in between Cincinnati and New Orleans.
All right, but still, they're not going far west.
When do they choose?
They could end up with one of the games in another country.
When do they choose when these is prime times or with the times of the game?
It's a while.
When they actually announce the schedule, which is May. We have plenty.
Also in May. So here's the thing. My question is, if it's presumed that Shedeur Sanders is the starter, how many national televised games do they get?
What? Yeah, more than they'd be worthy of.
Yeah, I think
4.
I think they would get national televised games.
My guess is he won't be the presumed starter when they make the schedule.
When is it? May, June?
Yeah, I mean they don't even start training camp yet. It's pre.
Here's the thing.
He might be in the competition for it. But
say for instance, say they don't draft a quarterback, and it's him and Deshaun Watson.
Well, Deshaun Watson could lose you primetime games, and Shedeur could get you primetime games. And if we don't know who's gonna be the starter, then it may work against.
I'll be shocked if in May the only quarterbacks on the roster are Shedeur, Deshaun Watson, and Dylan Gabriel. I'll be very shocked.
But what if it's a late round pick?
Well, then maybe the same thing. I think I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen?
I would probably say they would get more. They get more primetime games.
Do you want primetime games? Do you like primetime games?
Nah, I don't. I'm not. I'm a 1 o'clock dude. I like to get my stuff out the way.
I'm a very routine oriented guy, and I don't like my routine to be messed up with the team that I have to cover for work.
Yeah.
I like when the Bills play in primetime, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because we go out and watch it, whatever. But I lock in for the Browns games because it does feel like work.
Well,
I like the 1 o'clock.
I feel the same way with the Bengals. I'd rather them, because a lot of times the Bengals and Browns are playing at the same time, which sucks for me. So I'd rather the Bengals play at an oddball time.
My worst time slot, the worst time slot is I hate 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I'd rather
it's
it be
in
a night
between.
game.
Either be all the way in the prime time or on Amazon on a Thursday or the night game. But don't have me looking around at 4. It's in between time.
And it's also the worst when it's a 4 o'clock game, like in November when it's dark.
Yeah.
So it's 5 o'clock and it's dark out, and then you're like, what the hell time is it? There's still another game on?
It's a whole game, and then if it's a nasty game, it ain't even a good game. It's
it just puts a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, you just
all day.
you're like, man, I gotta wake up. You wake up and you be like, I got 3 more hours, and then you be having to do the pregame and then it's the postgame. Now give me the 1 o'clock, because even in September, if it's 1 o'clock. If you get in there and you're efficient, you can do your stuff, do your post game, and then you can get out and it still be light outside. I'll be going to the grocery store and everything. I go take a walk. I'm like, this is beautiful.
The
Give me
Browns,
1 o'clock.
The Browns played in England this year.
Yeah.
It did. It was the 9:30 game.
So they
against
probably
the Vikings.
won't play in another country now. Although they're doing so many games now that it's still possible.
And also,
right?
the Jaguars play over there literally every
They play
season.
every year. I think they want to play every year. Most teams don't want to play there every
But
year.
I think this is now 2 years in a row that Washington has played overseas.
Okay.
I think now they're trying to make prime time.
I think they're playing in Australia next year.
Well, they expanded. They're playing more international games
Yeah.
next year than they ever have in the
difficult
past.
place to get to.
I mean, are we eventually going to have a 6 a.m. game Eastern time?
My dream for the NFL.
Like 18 hours ahead,
My dream.
Australia, is that what it is?
something like that.
Dream for the
Australia,
NFL
yes.
is to have a team in Germany, a team in London, a team in Paris, and a team in Barcelona. And I want the European League. Those are 4 teams. And so when you go play, you would end up being over there for
3 weeks?
I would love it.
So Australia's 16 hours ahead?
Melbourne is 4:30 in the morning right now.
Okay. So that means if you wanted to play a Sunday, so if you're playing a Sunday game,
You'll be playing on Saturday.
I mean, you'd have
No,
to.
you'd be playing on Monday. They're ahead, G.
No, yeah,
Well,
right.
I mean, if you wanted to play a game at noon or 1 o'clock their time, it's going
Yeah.
to be 7 o'clock here.
7 o'clock in the evening.
Here.
Right. So you'd have to play like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday to play the Sunday night game there
Right.
or something.
Right.
Or maybe maybe that's a Saturday night game that they play Sunday at 1 p.m.
Yeah. It can be done.
Yeah.
Will there be?
They're doing it.
Will there be an international team in our lifetime?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be an
In the
international
next-
division
in the next
like
10
you were
years,
talking about.
5 years maybe.
Really?
The league
think
is
so.
making so much money. They're going to expand. I wouldn't be surprised if we had 40 teams.
I wouldn't be
at one
surprised
point.
if they had a division over there.
Right.
Like an
Yeah.
NFL
I
Europe
think
team.
Yeah.
I would love it.
If they're going to make an international team, it has to be an international division where teams
Yes.
could basically go overseas for
Right, and then you play
for 3 weeks,
stay for 3
4
weeks,
weeks,
yeah.
and you spend a month there as opposed to the back and forth nonstop international travel.
What they need to do is build like a hub somewhere in Europe,
Right, a
training facility
Yeah.
where the team, when you go there, you basically live at that facility,
Right, yeah.
or a couple of facilities
Absolutely.
for the teams that have to come overseas.
I like that.
I mean,
idea,
Australia,
too.
though, that's a
brilliant.
different. Like, Australia's
No,
much
that's a-
bigger
Dude,
deal.
it's-
I mean, Australia is. I was watching a documentary on New Zealand the other day,
Yeah.
and boy, it like when they said the land down under, literally, it's in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
in the southern.
so far
well,
hemisphere.
and if they haven't played any games in Asia yet, have they?
No, just South America.
Because you got to figure that's coming at some point.
South
That's
America,
also
Europe.
at least with Europe, or at least like England, Germany, Spain. It's not that crazy a travel.
they're going to be playing in Saudi Arabia or Dubai. all that's coming too.
Probably, yeah.
Let me ask you this, then we'll pivot to Cavs. Would you be in favor of an international Super Bowl?
I got no problem. What do I
Why,
care?
why do I care? As
Yeah, I
long as,
don't
it's,
care.
as long as it's 6 o'clock my time.
Yeah, whatever however you want to. I actually like the spectacles because I think I like.
It's
What's
cool.
the difference? What's the difference?
I
Yeah,
like
we can't-
soccer
I'm not at the
matches
game.
over there. I love when they got like flare guns going off and all
Yeah.
kind of. I'm like, this is wild.
Have
I like
you
this.
Have you watched a baseball game in Japan or Korea?
Oh,
Right, it's crazy.
they even have
bananas.
they have
Yeah.
cheerleaders on the dugout too.
Every player has their own cheer that you do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wild.
The level of discipline. Their fans are all, like here. We got too much. We got too much freedom. Like what I mean by that is, like it's always one dude. They say, listen, if you're gonna sit in the whiteout section, please wear all white. He shows up with red, blue jeans.
Nah, nobody does that stuff there. Yeah.
No one does that.
They're all in.
They're all in.
And
Yes.
the high leader tells you you got to be all in. And they got guards that listen. You might want to tuck that in.
Yeah.
The supreme leader's watching from heaven.
Supreme leader.
I tell people all the time. I tell my wife, I'm like,
Japan is not a communist country.
no, hold on. Listen, it ain't a communist country. However, the level of discipline that
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
have,
Oh, yeah.
like they not. Even my wife was like, man, she's a citizen
You know-
now. She took her
Yeah.
oath so seriously. She was just like she told my aunt, she was like, please refrain from ever speaking about political things because I took an oath for the United States of America. I am a citizen now, so I do not want that on my timeline. I was like, look at you, just buy it all the way in. That's what happens
There
when
you
they
go.
Shout out to
By the
Bought
way,
in.
I have some friends that went to Japan, and You know how, like, if you're walking around, there'll be, like, benches, especially if you're in a park or something like that.
To rest or sit.
There's none of that in Japan. Like, there's no benches, there's no places to sit.
They're on their feet all day.
They're just going. Nobody's just hanging around doing nothing.
You got to. And
I would not do well in Japan. I'd be taller in Japan. I wouldn't.
You would stand out in Japan.
Huh?
You would stand out in Japan.
I would definitely would.
You'd lose 100 pounds in the first year.
And they may arrest you for just being rude. They like, listen, sir.
Oh my God, I've been loudmouth.
Sir, you're talking.
Yeah. Shoot, they might give you a ticket for being overweight.
They might give you that too.
well, Dustin, come on.
Now listen, I'm overweight.
I'm not talking about Bull. I'm talking about people in general.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say we don't gotta throw darts.
No, I mean,
I've worked with this guy for 20 years.
I don't care.
Me, I'm overweight. Matter of fact, if you wear any size over size 2 or 3, you're gonna go over there. And by the way, the kids, like I remember going to
sumo wrestler.
I went to the Philippines, and it's a 20-something hour flight.
Yeah.
And so I'm on like Japan Airlines, and it was the most peaceful, quiet, disciplined situation I've ever seen.
They were all dogging out.
They sat there like this.
There's nobody taking off their shoes.
There was nobody. They was locked in like they was flying the plane. They didn't say nothing. They was reading books quietly.
I would have loved to see them just exit the plane peacefully. Like they probably do it perfectly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's
None of
perfect.
this standing up, getting their people stand up there in your face.
You can hear a pin drop. And the stewardess was so nice. I was sitting there. I was the only American, so I'm sitting in the middle. I'm like, oh, this is great, man. I'm moving all to the side. I'm spread all out because they were like, oh no, we don't want to do every other seat because the plane was pretty much empty.
Yeah.
No, they sat in family units like this.
Wow.
3 to a row. Didn't say nothing. I said,
They thought G. Bush was by.
You know what I'm doing now, by the way? I
Godzilla.
started doing this as a game changer for your anxiety.
Yeah.
When the plane lands, assuming I don't have make a connection really fast, I sit until
I've been doing that too.
Until there are like 10 rows behind me that have all cleared out,
pressure.
And then the pressure's gone, and then I just casually slowly get your little bag. They're like 10 rows back.
I've been doing that. It's like,
It's
what
the
am I
best
rushing
thing.
out of here?
My God.
I'm the last person off the plane. And I'm the last person with everybody. I need all the stewardess and the pilot to be up front by the time I get off. They're like, sir, can you get off? Yeah. But you're right, Dustin.
It takes away all that anxiety.
And all that extra trying to get out. I get up my little bag.
Let me standing there.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Well, those are your airplane tips.
Yeah.
We do have one last topic we got to get to.
Yes.
We got to talk a little Cavs. Before we get to the Cavs, yesterday's Cavs discussion turned into a discussion about pimps and prostitutes.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to
by the way, apparently I was told by a couple people he was a pimp.
So maybe it was, and over time we can dissect that. We're going to actually talk a little Cavs today. If somehow we do get sidetracked, even though I promise we will try not to get sidetracked. Jason and I did do a non-pimps and prostitutes edition of Ultimate Cavs this morning, so you can check it out on our YouTube page. But in case anyone missed it, the Cavs gave us an update on Max Strus yesterday prior to their win over Indiana, and we will get to the win over Indiana in a second. But the status update from the Cavs reads a little something like this, and I'm going to paraphrase. Essentially, Max Strus, who recently underwent a foot evaluation on his Jones fracture, is making progress but is not progressing as quickly as they initially anticipated. He'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks. It is not a setback. They are just not rushing him back. And then once he comes back in 4 weeks, he'll be able to resume and hopefully start up some basketball activity. In the next 4 weeks, he will be able to continue the rehabilitation and conditioning phases of recovery, but has not gotten back to basketball activity.
That's a setback. That
that's
is 100% a setback.
I and Jason this morning talked about the fact that when you have a Jones fracture, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little bone in your foot.
I had one. I have a screw in my foot.
You would much rather, and Dustin, you could talk from personal experience, be cautious and get back to 100% than rush back. And the Cavs need Strus for the playoffs. I have no issue with them taking a little extra time to make sure he's fully healthy before he returns.
Yeah, there's no reason to rush him back. I mean, the worst thing that can happen, because they put that little tiny screw in that foot so the bone can heal around it, because you get like no blood flow to that area. The worst thing you could have happen is if you rush back and the bone's not fully healed and you crack it around that screw.
Then you screw it.
And then you got to have a new surgery and you just kind of start the process over again. So it's like you just want to be very cautious. There's no reason.
If that happens, then he's done for the year.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well,
so,
basically, at that point in time. So.
And so, obviously, how much of a hindrance is it? I mean, you are a cornerback, so it's kind of like similar to being a basketball player because you're stopping, you're starting, you're quick twitch. It's like, you can't think about cutting and you do it all the time. How does that injury kind of like prohibit you from moving? And is it kind of
it's more just a confidence thing. Like once it's healed and you get that final X-ray and they tell you, okay, the strength is good, like it's not going to break. You just got to get over the you're scared, fear you have of being able to plant on that foot, and then you do that a few times and you get a few practices under your belt, and then all of a sudden it's like no big deal.
Okay.
Like that screw is still in my foot. I had that done when I was in Philadelphia.
And so, and then you don't feel it, no residuals or anything. It's just
no.
So we'll probably, if all goes well, we'll probably see Strus in March.
March, yes, which gives him about a month to ramp up for the playoffs, and that should be enough time. But as long as there's no more setbacks, he's good.
Well, McNuggets,
as long as there's no more.
Here's the thing. This is a great segue into talking about setbacks. Darius Garland, this is the best I've seen you look in a while.
Oh, he looked good last night.
Look, best I've seen you look like you had a little pep in your step
against the rough and tumble Indiana Pacers.
It looked like he was moving around. And one of the things about Darius Garland, I will say, is it is a marked difference between his game. You can really tell when he's out there by himself and he's playing like that. You can tell that he has to take certain concessions when Donovan is on the floor. Like, he doesn't have – Darius is the best when he has the ball in his hands and he can kind of, either penetrate, facilitate, get his own shot. He just seems to have much more – he seems to play much more freer. Also, I thought Evan Mobley, this is the first time that they kind of went back to the Evan Mobley being a facilitator, creator dude. You see him on the perimeter a lot more, taking 3 or 4 dribbles, getting to the lane, 5 assists for him yesterday. And then Sam Merrill knocking down some jumpers.
Well, he was hitting jumpers off the dribble yesterday. He had a step back between the legs.
It gave you the tantalizing stuff that, you used to be excited to get excited about the Cavs because Sam Merrill was knocking down threes and it's
like 11 in Stranger Things right there.
Yeah, so, yeah. He
kind of in Stranger Things.
He finished
the first season?
He kind of looked real sinister right there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like he definitely got some things going on in his personal life in that picture.
Yeah.
But Darius Garland pulling up from half court. And so, look, it was the first game that Donovan wasn't playing, and they won this basketball game. And
they barely won against one of the worst teams in the league.
Hey, it was touch and go for a while. I thought this was going to be one of them. They were down pretty much the whole game until the fourth quarter, and then they went on a little run. The Pacers go on these long streaks where they can't score, like 4 or 5 minutes, and so the Cavs kind of, did what they needed to. But Darius Garland looked like the old glimpse of Darius Garland in this game.
Well, I gave you a shout out on the Ultimate Cavs show this morning because last night's game was exactly what you say happens all the time in the NBA, and it's undeniable that for the first 42 minutes of the game, the Cavs were walking through the motions. In the last 6 is when they turned it on, and it's not a good trend.
Only time worth watching.
Not necessarily a good trend. It's a team the Cavs, with Donovan Mitchell or without Donovan Mitchell, should be able to beat pretty handily. However, they played hard in the last 6 minutes, and that was enough to take the lead. To G's point, they held Indiana scoreless for a 4.5-minute stretch in the fourth quarter, which is where they took the lead, then built their lead. And Darius Garland, to his credit, was 5 of 5 in the clutch last night. We talked about his clutch performance last year, how he was the most efficient clutch performer in the league with enough volume to quantify. Last night, 5 of 5, and he was 11 of 15 on mid-range shots yesterday. Boy, you talk about not liking teams shoot too many threes. Darius was doing a really good job.
I do like
getting
that.
Into paint. And one last stat you'll like. I want to give my boy Jackson Flickinger a stat. The Cavs are 5-1 this season when they take fewer than 35 threes. 5-1 with fewer
Bringing
than 35.
it back, going old school.
They're 2-6 when they take over 50. There you go.
Let's find the happy medium here, guys.
Yeah.
It's find a good shot, get to your spot. And, when Darius got the little floater and mid-range game going, he can be difficult to stop because then he's able to get Jared Allen. I think he has a couple nice little cool passes. And it is good because, the pipe dream that DeAndre, Hunter is going to be, he's just not as consistent a scorer. So what I'm looking at is if the Cavs want to reach their ceiling, Garland has to be able to be the option that gets it because I don't trust Hunter. I do not trust Mobley.
Like, it turns out the DeAndre Hunter trade, which we were all in favor of last year, has been a disaster for the Cavs because, not that he's been so bad, just because what it's prevented them from being able to do, because that trade put them into the second apron. They're the only team in the league in the second apron, and that seriously limits what they're able to do in terms of making moves. I don't know if they were going to able to do anything better this year had they not had him or whatever, but it has totally handicapped them, and he hasn't been worth it.
I mean, that was their all-in move, right? Like Jason Lloyd said it from the get-go. This is their pushing the chips in.
Yeah.
Once you push the chips into the second apron, you go into that with that being your team. Like, you don't go into the second apron with question marks, or you're not supposed to go into the second apron with
Was there a move, looking back, between last year's deadline and now, if they had not traded for Hunter, is there a move you could see that they could have made instead?
I mean, when they were making the Hunter deal last year, remember it was Hunter, Cam Johnson, the two guys we were talking about. Now, Cam Johnson has not necessarily been good in Denver this season. He hasn't been able to shoot the ball, hasn't made enough shots.
So he might not have been any better.
It may not have been any better, but, and this is now, we're going a couple layers. Who knows if this is realistic or not?
Yeah.
The Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr. to the Nets in that Cam Johnson deal, right? Michael Porter Jr. has been awesome. Like, awesome in Brooklyn this year.
But he's on a bad team, maybe that,
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like, this is two levels out, but the Cavs at least had interest in Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson got traded for Michael Porter Jr. Maybe they had enough. But also, and this has come back, Jason mentioned this the other day, we were all shocked at how little the Cavs had to give up to get DeAndre Hunter. Remember we came back and said, I can't believe they got him for that price. Maybe
now we know why.
Maybe that should have sparked someone in our head and said, why was Atlanta so willing to get rid of this guy for a price that did not seem like it was the market value for a good contributor, not just contributable, but like playable down the stretch, 6'8" wing. Maybe they knew something we didn't. I do think the injuries and the age has taken a toll on DeAndre. His lateral quickness side to side.
His age? How old is he?
He's 27, but he's had multiple serious knee injuries. And Dustin and G are two guys you can look at who played at a very high level and can attest to how your body never gets back to – you may get back to 99%, but never 100 and over a couple of years. He just doesn't look like the same lateral athlete he has been in the past. And he's got to start making shots. His jump shot in warm-ups, it's the thing of beauty. It doesn't touch the rim. In the games, it hasn't translated yet. But they do need more from Hunter if they're going to continue to win. But they've won 6 of 9, by the way. They're 6-3 in their last 9.
No, they're playing better, no doubt about it.
Right now.
And they've had some good wins along the way.
Now, I think, to me, if you look at it, if you take a look at the squad that they got, you got Hunter, you got Allen. I think those are role guys. But if you look at their roster overall, how many people are playing at or above their potential? And I would only say consistently is Donovan Mitchell.
No, Jalen Tyson.
Oh, no. Sorry. I meant like Jalen Tyson is playing way over.
Of like the top 5
of
guys?
the top guys.
All right, yeah.
So if the Cavs want to win, they need either Evan Mobley or Darius Garland to play at their max or above it. Now, I would argue that neither one of them has reached the potential that people thought about them when they got their contracts.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So if they want to get to the level they want to get to, they got to at least have 1 or 2 guys doing that.
Yeah, but it's hard to believe that all of a sudden they're going to reach another level here.
But that's the key.
I guess we'll see.
That's the part.
All right, let's get the Super Chats, Mike.
Yeah, it could happen. It may not. We'll see. But 2 big games coming up against Minnesota.
Yeah.
They're on the road tomorrow. Then they're home Saturday, primetime, at 1 p.m. on Amazon Prime to not go up against the NFL playoffs.
By the way, a couple of quickies. LeBron had a big game last night.
He did.
This is ridiculous. I mean, as much as
It's a
I've
big game.
been on the Jordan thing, like, it's just ridiculous.
Like 30-something points?
What did he do? I can't remember.
I'll pull up the box score. It was the most points ever scored by someone 41 or older in the NBA,
So
which
he
there's
must
not a lot of guys who have
he
played
must have
that
had
long.
like 40 points.
But it was in the Pelicans game. He had 30 points. The new ESPN box. He had 38 and 8 last night.
I hate the new ESPN box.
It's the dumbest.
Yeah.
Why? It was
On the
perfect.
app?
No one
Yeah, I
ever
don't like
complained about the ESPN
I
box
know,
score.
it was good.
And they changed it, and now it's still.
I
38
use
and
the
8.
CBS app for scores.
Yeah.
In box scores, it's the better.
That's tough.
30.
Don't
What do you
tell
have?
my boss.
38 and what?
38 and 8.
38 and 8. 41 years. I know it's the Pelicans.
38?
No,
30 points,
30
8 boards,
Okay.
8 assists.
That's rough.
At 41,
Nearly
whatever the hell
triple
year old he
double,
is.
yeah.
I mean, it's just.
How much is he averaging this year?
crazy.
Not crazy?
Yeah, what are his averages for the
This
year?
season, he's playing fewer minutes than he ever has in the past. He's still averaging 21.7 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 6.8 assists, and shooting 52%.
Doesn't it feel like, guys, that this is the first year we're starting to expect less out of him?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But he still will have games like that.
He's
But, like,
clearly
to
their
still,
third best
at
player.
41, think about that.
I know, it's insane.
41,
Insane.
averaging 21, 5, and 6.
That's
Like,
crazy.
95% of the league couldn't average that in their prime.
Evan Mobley ain't sniffed that yet.
I mean, that's just
Go-
crazy.
there
How
is-
old was Jordan his last year in Washington?
Hold on.
Not 41, I don't think.
He wasn't that old, but
Yeah.
he did average like 20.7.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
he was in his
season.
20. Like I went back and watched all his games from the Wizards randomly in the time
He's still a
machine,
beast.
and he still had games where he was getting 40 or 50.
Oh,
Yeah, there were moments where you could turn on those highlights and he looks like he was 20 years
Last,
old.
Right.
I got your Jordan stats, and we got Super Chats. Jordan
Yeah.
played in all 82 games, by the way.
Which is crazy.
In that
At what age?
02-03 season. He's 39 years old. He averaged 20 points per game, exactly, like 20 on the dot.
Yeah.
Shot 44% and 29 from 3.
I mean, it's crazy.
4
He's
rebounds.
Damn near 40.
He was 40, and so
Yeah.
that's crazy.
By the way, one last thing before Super Chats. I haven't had a chance to read the article yet, but I saw a headline on Awful Announcing that Peacock is experimenting with a thing where you could mute the announcers and just hear the background noise.
So I tell you that on the tennis TV app that
Yeah.
I use, where I watch all the matches,
Yeah.
the men's matches, you can go no commentary.
That's-
So you just get nat sounds.
Yeah, I don't know that I want that all the time,
No,
but
but
it would be
it's
something.
it's nice. I actually like it when I'm just sitting by myself and I can just hear the sound. Like tennis has got a lot of good sounds.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
with
yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
The squeaking on the court and the ball bouncing and all that, and just
Might hear a
hearing the
little
crowd,
trash talking.
the crowd,
you
the
know.
trash. Yeah, all that.
and
stuff.
even in tennis, Dustin, I think the tennis announcers do a really good job of not. Some of them don't overtalk.
It's probably the sport with the least amount of talking because you don't talk during the point.
You're
right.
right.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
And then they let it breathe at the end. If they have a really nice volley and somebody hits a winner, they let it breathe. They let
yeah. There's a lot to see.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching it,
Yeah, football and basketball are the most talking because there's I don't know. Baseball, I think, is generally not too bad.
Baseball does a
They don't. Yeah.
good job. but not-
Go ahead.
Let's get to Super Chats. Jordan Ernest says, whatever it takes, get Harbaugh. Rick Secker says, what are the North's ramifications if Harbaugh goes to the Browns? Would Monken get the Baltimore head coaching job? If not, would he take the offensive coordinator job under Harbaugh in Cleveland?
I don't think Monken's coming
Isn't
back.
Monken fired too, or no?
I think that was the reason why.
If Monken was the reason why they.
there's no way he's going back.
Yeah,
not
I
going
can't
back.
imagine
No,
he'd come back.
no.
Monken and Lamar didn't get along. Then he
So-
ain't going
Yeah.
back. No
They
chance.
chose Lamar. Monken
Right.
ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Of course they choose Lamar.
No, I'm saying because they chose
No, I know that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was an obvious,
And it's the right
obvious
choice.
reason.
D. Grat says, I've been living in Baltimore for the last 20 years. Much like Stefanski, the national narrative of Harbaugh, vastly different from the local. We talked about that earlier. Jeremy
One guy's won a
Blosser
Super Bowl,
said,
multiple Super Bowls.
hold on, Harbaugh. Let me translate this.
Just skip it.
Didn't Shador turn down the Ravens in the draft process? Who likes Shador? That'd be interesting to find out.
That was reported.
that
I don't know.
somebody
that's
reported that.
definitely true,
I don't
but-
know if it's.
Yeah.
We never.
Neil
probably find
Gray
out.
says, are we willing to sacrifice Jim Schwartz's defense, top 1 or 2, and Andrew Berry for Jim Harbaugh as the future coach of the Browns?
Of course.
Yes.
Are you serious? Is that a serious question?
I think people think the Browns' defense was a lot better this year than it actually was.
Okay.
I think what happens in life is when you only got 1 or 2 things, you tend to value them higher than what maybe other people would, right? You know, that's the one thing that people can hang their hat on. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like they're the little defenses.
There'd
over
be
it.
more people arguing for Schwartz than Berry. Even the people who have defended keeping Andrew Berry, like G, would give him up. I assume for Harbaugh.
Yeah, I would. Listen,
I think
Harbaugh,
most fans would. If Myles Garrett wasn't on the Browns, we wouldn't be going nuts about Jim Schwartz. Obviously he's a very good coach, but let's not go crazy.
D. Grat
levels
says,
to this.
His levels.
I live in Baltimore, was at a cigar lounge yesterday when the Harbaugh news broke. An impromptu party broke out. Ravens fans ecstatic to see him go.
This is about the third or fourth people that heard that.
Because they haven't had success in the playoffs with Lamar. That's why. So you blame the coach.
When you're in it, man, listen, when you're in a relationship, it's rich people problems.
That's right.
Like, you say, hey, I'm gonna make all this more money, and then you realize, when you got that bag, there's a little different. It's some problems.
By the way,
with that too.
If the Chiefs have a bad season next year, they're gonna be talking about Andy Reid.
Yep.
100%.
Probably.
Doesn't matter how good you are, what you've done. Eventually,
what have you done for me lately?
People are done with you.
All right, next one. Neil Gray says, do you guys remember the scuffle between Harbaugh and Schwartz in the Lions?
I do. I was thinking about that earlier.
But it was the other,
I forgot about that.
It was the other Harbaugh.
It was
Jim.
It was
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
However, those two were like,
Yeah.
Oh, they're tight.
I can imagine there's still a little bad blood.
Folks, if John Harbaugh comes here, Jim Schwartz is leaving.
Yes.
He's not going to be forced into an assistant coach.
No.
Neil Gray says, why is Bull obsessed with firing Andrew when he got Haslam's backing?
When he's got what?
Andrew's backing.
Oh,
Or
because he's not very, because he's terrible at his job.
Also, Haslam has everyone's back until he doesn't.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Why would I care that he's got Haslam's backing? Why would that matter to me?
WR Cups.
That super chat person, who was that?
That was Neil Gray.
Did they believe everything Jimmy says?
Yeah, I guess so.
WR Cup says, Dustin, are the Suck Guys playing Thursday night? #, go Canes.
Fighting words.
I didn't miss any tackles in that game. Miami beat our ass. Dude. What did you say?
I'm gonna let you know a little insight. I'll be telling this
As
a person that knows Tyvus and Dustin.
Yeah.
They love Ohio State, but at the end of the day, they have national championship rings.
Right.
That's right.
So it's like, hey, I want to see you get one, but I'm good. I already got mine. I hope you get yours.
Also, Tyvus would be a little more bothered than Dustin would.
I mean,
you've been gone from it long enough.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
But
whatever.
Tyvus is like, yo.
He also lives in Columbus. I know.
Yeah, right.
We came to, we did a film review. He said they just got beat up front.
We did.
Yeah.
They got whipped up. What I'm saying.
Like, Tyvus still knows some of the people there. You don't really. Do you know anybody there?
People act like I live and die with the Ohio State Buckeyes, and like, dude, no. I mean, there's a lot of fans out there that do, but
Right.
not. I mean, it's
you
different.
want them to win,
as a
but
former
you're not
player,
gonna.
I want them to win the game. But did I lose sleep? Am I?
No. He didn't even pull his inflatable out.
You'd much rather the
I returned it.
You'd much rather the Cavs win another championship than the Buckeyes. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd rather. Yes, 100%.
That's what I thought.
All right, next one. Mr. Rick Secker says, the Browns are the ultimate challenge for any coach. If you take this team to a Super Bowl, you cement a legacy.
I will say that.
Any team to a Super
No.
Bowl. Yeah.
If I always tell people, if you take the Cleveland Browns to the Super Bowl, good luck firing them. Like, can you imagine, like if you're the quarterback that went to a Super Bowl, you got a lifetime deal. People will jump off bridges and do all kind of crazy things for you.
Actually, accomplishing that will not be easy.
Not at all.
Couple more. Caspier says, love UCSS. Per Harbaugh's agent, ESPN reporters received more calls than open jobs. Maybe another team will fire their coach. We already know Miami's one of those extra teams. Joey B says, we fired Kevin for these choices. Great. Acid Brooks says, AB fleeced Dallas for Amari Cooper, who gave us 2 great years. He got Jim Schwartz. He created this defense who carried us to 11-6 with 5 quarterbacks. Give him a chance to pick offensive players.
He carried them to 11-6?
I'm just reading these.
My God.
Scott Gray says, how often is the team supposed to win a Super Bowl? The most win franchises have 6 and 58. I believe expectations can be unrealistic.
Of course.
And then Great Adafit says, I want to hear from Bull and Dustin on what they were expecting to see from Shedeur Sanders, considering the state of the offensive line and his receivers.
Expected to see from him.
I kind of actually, overall, like, he kind of played, considering the circumstances, I think he played fine. He played okay.
I mean,
he didn't blow away my expectations.
I didn't have
and he didn't
like higher expectations for what he did.
No.
And he didn't play worse than I thought. He sort of played in the wheelhouse of where I thought he would be. I mean, he was a rookie quarterback that had a few moments that you were like, wow, and he had a few moments where you're like,
right. And the talent's crappy around him, but he's not the first
small sample size, guys.
And he's not the first Browns quarterback to have crappy talent around him.
Right.
So like you factor it all in, but again, there's no way. I just don't see how you can realistically say he's definitely the guy based on what we saw this year.
The book isn't written. The goal for him is to get more access to more games. Like the goal was in 7 games. Hey, I need to go out there to at least put my name in contention. I want to put my name in the mix so I can get to another set of games to continue to prove myself.
You, as a player, you always want to put on tape enough for your coaches to say, "I want to see more." Not I've seen enough.
Yeah. That's
you know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
I think he's done that.
Yes,
but
I think he's done enough.
Yes,
for me to say I want to see more.
And I take what he said. Take what he said himself. Shedeur said, listen, I learned a lot. I learned what I like, I don't like. I learned what I'm good at. I learned what I need to work on. I learned a lot of those things.
It's up to him.
So, he's going to the offseason.
There's talent there. There's no doubt there's some talent.
He has some stuff that is undeniable that you see. But like he said, you got to continue to add stacks to that and continue to see what's up in 26. Yeah.
All right, last one real quick comes from Lohai, who says, isn't being the coach to turn around the Browns, historically speaking, a good incentive to take the job? I feel like that would be enticing. See you guys in overtime.
It's not really.
Peace.
Maybe.